Good evening, everybody. I think I should put my chair up a little bit. I'm down really low. How's everyone doing? So, yeah, the countdown normally has its own built-in audio, and I selected one, and just didn't play any audio with it. So maybe it was that particular countdown. But as I was playing around, you could add in background music like I've got here. And this is something off of YouTube selection, so it is royalty free and it is safe to use. So what's everyone up to tonight? I see I got 3 viewers, but 2 are... I got Big Bad Mama in tonight. Tonight I might thought maybe I'd kind of do a split screening here and do a little bit of drawing. Hey, Jim, the man Jim is here tonight. How are you, Jim? Good to see you. Oh, Frank's got 2 of them. All right, I got 5 in here now. Gray blue. Well, I got the blue shirt, and it seems to be reflecting a lot of blue light for whatever reason. I think it's these lights that I have in here for some strange reason. I don't know why. Is it showing really? I don't know. I want to get one of those colored lights that I can flash around behind me. I shouldn't say flash, but changes color on the wall. I thought it might be kind of funky to have for these live streams once I get my place cleaned up. So what's everybody working on tonight? Is anyone working on comics tonight or working on something artistic? I think maybe I might open up a split screen tonight with Clip Studio Paint. I've been kind of going over a few things. I've been learning a little bit about layout for comics, as I've been kind of still writing a little bit more of my script and doing a few sketches. I've been learning a little bit about placement of characters within boxes, and as well as the speech bubbles, and a few interesting things that I've come across. Can't say it's really been. It's mostly straightforward stuff, I think, that I've picked up, but there was a few little things that I learned. There's a really good artist named Mitch Louis, and incredible cartoonist, just mind-blowing cartoonist. He makes it look so easy, but he's doing a series now on drawing comics. His name is a bit of a funny spelling, and if you want to look his stuff up, I can put his name in later. But it's not, his last name has a really funny spelling. But he had something on doing speech bubbles, which I was informative, but I kind of questioned a couple of things. So, Jim, working on the full fungus. Lots of thumbnailing. Nothing worse than nail fungus. The podcast, I'm playing a game on my phone. Nice. They've changed this a little bit. I'm using. I almost went back to StreamYard because I was having a little bit of difficulty with what I use, because I don't use StreamYard, where I know a lot of people like to use StreamYard because it's free, but it's missing a few details that I like in this thing. So I tend to want to stick with this, which is what's it called? Talk Studios through Streamlabs, and I actually use the paid version of this. I think it's like $12 a month, so it's like half as much as the paid version of StreamYard. There is a free version, and it has most of the same stuff, I think. But if you like a few of the extra little bells and whistles, and that's why I go with. And it's far cheaper than Streamlabs. Sorry, StreamYard. My apologies. StreamYard is almost twice as much, so that's why I go with this. Because I pay in Canadian, it's $12 a month Canadian. So, what's this? Frank says, I sold some mini comics recently. Nice, congratulations. Always nice when you can sell art. I had some leftovers from the workshop. I think that's what I need to do, is going to start pushing my own stuff again. Somebody gave me a printer, and I tried out a printer this week because I wanted to start printing my own work, and then I can kind of start promoting it a little bit more online, some of my prints. And so I had one friend gave me a printer, and it leaves a line through everything, so that's no good. Then another friend of mine that lives here in the building, he gave me his old printer, and it's an old HP, and I went and hooked that thing up and found out that it is so old that the drivers no longer work with the current operating system that I use for the Mac. So that's no good. So I'm stuck with these two printers now that I can't. They're in my possession now, and I don't know. I do have a Staples down the street. If why does it look like I have an ink mark right there? It's not. It's just. Oh, that looks terrible. I keep my head turned this way slightly. It looks ridiculous. It looks like I've got ink coming out. It's just the way the whiskers are a darker color. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, so I got to go drop those off at Staples if they still have their recycling plan. So. It's been sort of how do you put it? An eventful and an eventless week. Is it lipstick? No. God, I no. No, it is not. It is not lipstick. It's just the hairs. The whiskers are coming through. Yeah, what have I done this week? It's just been a week. I went to visit some people in the weekend, and Been just trying to catch up with when you between work and everything else. When you come home, you try and catch up on chores like laundry and all that kind of boring stuff and grocery shopping, etc. So it's been there, it's too high. So I just been kind of an eventless week. With not really a whole lot to tell you. I've still been trying to do some sketching and some writing to work on the comic. I'm hoping that in July I can lay everything out and start inking it. I have some roughs done, but it's very, very rough. It looks awful at the moment in its rough stage. It makes sense to me. If I was to show it to anybody else, it wouldn't make any sense. But I'm going to see if I can actually hook up, add an extra window to this. If I can add in an extra screen for if I can do this, and I have to set this up. I should have set this up ahead of time, and I did not. But I'm going to see if I can set this up now. Screen one. See, it jumps to these. This is where I still actually prefer to use OBS or use Streamlabs open broadcasting, so that I can arrange this a little bit better. It gives you some options to arrange the screen, but I don't like any of these. I kind of wish I could overlap it a little bit better than just this, because otherwise I would see. I can't move this. Ugh. That's so frustrating that I can't move this. Because look, now this ticker thing here at the bottom is... Anyway, so what have I got here? Oh, I forgot about that. So yeah, my screen, I have to change something over on my pen tablet because it wants to reselect the wrong monitor. There we go. That should be better. Now we're better. Is everyone still there? It's like he's gonna do something. I almost had a couple of guests on tonight. I tried to get actually a couple of people in, which reminds me, I'm going to open this up. I was hoping maybe Enrique could come in, but he says he wasn't going to be able to be here. I'm gonna see if I can bring him in. If he's here, if he's available, if not. And I almost had a good friend of mine from that I knew from college many years ago, and her name was Dawn McKechnie. She's a really interesting artist. She now lives in the U.S. I've known her for like almost 30 years, quite possibly even more than that. She does so many different things. She works a full-time job, and yet she makes costumes. She is a master costume maker for conventions. She helps run bloody conventions. She is part of something. Oh, she's also helps run a haunted castle and makes costumes for that. She does her own art. She what else? Oh, she does a really interesting thing. Remember years ago you used to get cigarettes in vending machines? Somebody apparently bought up a bunch of those and now has something called Artomatics. I don't know if somebody do you use a mini keyboard for the tablet? Yes, I do. When I do have one, I use occasionally. But Don, kind of is. If you meet her, you're not far off. But years ago, they used to use those vending machines to sell cigarettes in, right? And somebody bought apparently those and started a company called Artomatic, and I think you can actually look this up online. I'll see if I can get the website. And they're only in certain areas throughout the U.S., and I don't know if they're in Canada just yet. If there are, it's very limited in Canada. But they now dispense art. I think it has to be within a certain size. She makes these little cute cat boxes. She puts in them, just little boxes with a cat painted on the front. It has ears on it and everything. Yeah, so I wanted to actually ask her more about it. I was hoping to maybe talk to her a little bit more about doing that. She's also entered some art contests, and she's does all kinds of things. She makes costumes, she paints, she makes haunted castles, and she does performances in them, and just, yeah. So I really would like to actually get her in here at some point. I met her originally in animation, and she was unable to finish the program, I think, due to an illness, but I don't think it's what she really wanted to do anyways. But yeah, and I almost could have gotten her on tonight, but she works. So I'm going to have her. I think I'm going to do like a special Halloween special a little later in the year. I'm going to have her in. I think it'd be a lot of fun, actually. What was I going to go check up? I was going to go do something. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I copied that link. And just in case Enrique makes it in tonight, I don't know if he will or not, but if you can give me just a couple of moments, I'm oops, no, that's not what I wanted. Weird, it's supposed to copy it, and oh, you found it, Artomat. That's probably it. Yeah. I just saw it. That's great. Let me see if I can open that in a new tab. We'll have a quick look. Yeah, that's it. An artist to get. I don't know if she'd be listed under there as one of the artists. I'll definitely have to come back to this later. Oh, it's starting to reach different places in the world, though. Look, I got one, I think, in Germany. I was showing a couple in Canada. I got one in Ottawa. That's it. I got one in Ottawa. I think maybe one in Montreal. Nope, that's in Vermont. Ottawa, that's it. That's the only one in Canada. Figures. Yeah, you do have to make them on boxes. Interesting. Okay. I could work on something like that. To get them in Canada. So anyways, drawing comics. Open that in a new window. I don't know that shows up. I was looking into laying out comics, and I read something kind of interesting. I was telling you about Mitch Louis and how he was starting a series on drawing comics. And he talked a bit about how you should lay out the bubbles, your speech bubbles. Except I think he glossed over it really quickly, and it leaves you with a few questions. Because you read left to right, and as you lay out a comic page, as you know, this is going to be very crude. If you have two characters, then the speech bubbles should go this character and this character. And I thought, well, what if you open up a frame, right? This should be one, this should be two. So what if you open up the frame, but you've got this character on the right here who needs to speak first? And you can't exactly flip them because of their environment, but he needs to speak first. You can't, and if you've got a lot of dialogue and you're trying to squeeze a lot of dialogue in, you want to try and get as much into a frame as possible. Otherwise, you're kind of spreading dialogue out over quite a number of pages. So I've run into this dilemma numerous times. And one of the things he says is don't cross the dialogue like this. It should go to their heads, but he says don't don't cross it like this. And I thought, didn't Mad Magazine used to do that all the time? Like, I remember seeing pages of, and theirs was in square boxes too, and they had zigzag lines all over the place, and you could still follow exactly what they were saying. I'd have to actually go find one again, but Mad and Cracked Magazine, when they laid out their pages, because they were both very similar, they had dialogue laid out kind of almost the same way, and they had characters talking the opposite way. So I'm thinking, so all right, fine, taking this into account, despite the fact I kind of disagree with, I think you can cross them if you need to. How else can you do this? No, the other way is fine. If you have this character speaking first, don't have this guy say anything yet, right? And do another box, maybe cut to a close-up or something of his response, right? And if he's, I just switched to, in one moment. I did something here with the pen. This is a pain in the butt. I clicked on it, and it has an option on these pens to switch to eraser. And sometimes when it does that, there we go. Doesn't want to switch back. All right, there we go. So starting with this character here on the right, you could have him say something and the other character not responding yet in that box. It just shows they're talking to each other. And if they're, they're looking the right way, then you'll know this character is the same as this character. If that makes sense. Or did I just lose everybody? And then if they have to continue talking, you can even add in another box here, or just have the box, two characters in it. It becomes a little bit repetitive to have that. I think that looks a little bit, it's a little bit static to have them going back and forth like that. In a film where there's dialogue, you can have a little bit of animation doing that without having to cut necessarily. You can have a dialogue between two characters and not constantly cutting. But in this, to make it a little more interesting, you can keep the motion of it going to hold viewer interest by maybe having something like a more cut to a close-up and really show. Here, he's got a hat that makes him look different. Right, so now we're cutting in close to this guy off the first frame. So it gives a little more dynamics to it, right? As opposed to then trying to figure out how these characters can start talking the opposite direction when you can't really flip them. When they need to be in the position that they are, you can't flip them, but you need the character on the right to talk first. And that happens quite a lot in what I'm laying out. I seem to constantly keep running into it. And so anyways, that was my big discovery for the week. Does anyone else? Whoops, how did I do that? How do I? There. I'm still learning this stupid thing. I don't know, Frank. I mean, have you kind of ran into this at all? You've been doing comics for quite a while. Oh, that's the other thing too. Yeah, I forgot about that. You can have them going back and forth in one frame as well. Hmm. Oh, I see. You can do that. So here's an interesting little thing. So coming back to this top one, let's get rid of this. I should have maybe kind of made this a little bit bigger. So you got Joe here with the hat, and he could maybe start with a piece of dialogue, or maybe it cuts back to him. This is a second. This guy talks second, and then this guy talks third. So you got 1, 2, and 3 here. So it goes back and forth. Because then the direction goes this way and then this way. I don't like that. It's rough pencil. Don't like it. Let's go this way. Oh, there you are. That way and then that way. So another little trick actually somebody showed me. Ugh, what is that? That's really dark. I don't like that. I'm going to select a better pencil. Let's go with this. The size. You could have a character here who starts to say something. And then this guy interrupts him. And you can actually have the bubble kind of overlap. And I know it's not very clear. Let's see if I can go in with a darker pencil. And then he has his dialogue, and this one gets kind of cut off. So this one overlaps that one. You get the idea of somebody talking over top of another person. It just literally, the bubble interrupts that conversation. So, hello, Sketchy Times. How are you? Just to give a little bit of background what I'm doing here, just for fun. I do a little stream on Wednesday night, and I kind of talk about art. I'll sometimes have a guest. I'm involved in a anthology at the moment. I'm joining with some other people to work on an anthology comic, and I myself am not really used to working on comics, so this is a little bit new to me. I've worked in animation before, but I've never really worked in comics. So I thought to say I'm completely unfamiliar with them, but in laying out a formal comic, this was a little bit of a learning experience for me, and it was a bit new, and it was a little, it's been a little, I feel out of my element in this. So I've been kind of doing a little bit of researching on how to lay out a comic, and how to lay it out properly, and to make it interesting and dynamic and visually appealing for an audience, and how to lay out panels so that it's clear and understood by a person who's reading it, and it reads properly from left to right. And I was reading a little bit this week on laying out dialogue panels, because I was explaining in the first one, I keep running this issue where I have two characters here who are facing each other, And you're supposed to start, they say, start with going left to right. So this one, as you can see, should be number 1. This should be number 2. And I says, well, what if I have the characters in this position? I can't move them, but the one on the right needs to speak first. And they said, well, don't cross the lines like this. And I thought, well, which is strange because Mad Magazine used to do that all the time. So they argue that it actually can be done. I think you can do that. But I've been looking at other ways of actually laying that out, laying out dialogue within a scene and cutting and making it visually interesting. So that's kind of what brings me up to here, and a few other little few other little tricks, etc., that I've been kind of learning this week. So. I worked on comics and was told panels work similar to film shots. Which films do you like, and which panels shots intrigue you? Yeah, it's interesting because, as I said, I went to school for animation and I worked in the industry a little bit, a long time ago, early 90s. I worked in it. It's all still up here, though. I've just been kind of out of practice, but I still remember a lot, and I used to actually like storyboarding, actually. Storyboarding and comics are very similar. The big difference between the two is that storyboarding, you can use an unlimited number of panels to indicate something that's going on in a film. I mean, if something's only a couple of seconds and you need like 10 different panels to indicate that, you can do that because it's going to be translated onto film, which is going to fly by very fast. But you are working within that frame, whatever it might be, whether it's 9:16, 9:16, or whatever it is. You are working within that size. Where comics, it's the other way around. Comics, you can make the panels any size that you need to. But you are limited on the amount of space. You have a limited amount of time to get across as much information as possible. Now you can make it as long as you want. Obviously, if it's like an independent comic site, you can certainly stretch anything out as long as you need to. But you want to hold your viewers' interest, so you try to get across a certain amount of information within one page. And so that's kind of basically where I find that the two differences lie. And for me, having worked in film and animation before, that's kind of what I'm used to. Now I'm transitioning to comics where things are flipped around and I've got to figure them out. It's a whole different world for me, but it's been interesting for sure. Definitely for sure. Films do I like? So I used to be a big sci-fi nerd for a long time. When I was little, I grew up, when the original Star Wars trilogy came out in the 70s and 80s, and yes, I'm old enough to have seen all those in the cinema. I was big into those. I like monster movies. I was big into like Ray Harryhausen stop motion movies. I was fascinated by all that. I like any film that has an interesting story. If somebody can tell an interesting, I don't care if it's a romance, I don't care if it's sci-fi, I don't care if it's a drama or action or anything, but if you can tell a really good story and attach me to those characters, I can watch any kind of story. As far as which panel shots intrigue me, I don't know if it's necessarily a single panel, but it's more the flow of panels. If something is going on and there's a piece of action or something that's going on, and how they use the angles and how should I put it? How they use those panels and how they're arranged, and the angles and the drawings, and how that's used to emphasize the emotion of a shot. And that kind of thing actually really intrigues me on how that's done, because I've seen examples of where it's done very well and some examples where it's not very well. But yeah, that's kind of, I don't know if that's, if that answers your question or not. But what comics, you said you've worked on comics. Which ones have you worked on? Yeah, comics can be really freeing in that manner with any size panel. and choosing to add panels, what you want to add thought. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Yeah, I agree. It can be. I think it's just that I'm not used to it. Storyboarding can be much the same way too. It's just that you are limited to your screen size. So if it's your 16 by 9, whatever that is, you're just limited to that size. But you can draw out as much as you need to indicate the movement of that. I used to work in animation. I used to like working in layout. And that is where we take the panel of, or we take the a sequence in the storyboards, and we have to break everything down. So I would draw the background for that scene, and then I'd take the character and I would show just a few poses to show where that character has to move in that scene, and that would be on another sheet of paper. So the background drawing would go to the background painters, and then those character poses for what the character is doing in that scene would then go to the animators, and then they would animate that out. And I also have to indicate anything if there is match lines. If a character is going behind something, if he's walking behind a tree, and there has to be a match line so he goes behind that. Or is it an overlay? Maybe it might be an overlay on another sheet. I have to indicate that. I have to indicate the you have to indicate the there's going to be a close-up, it's going to be pulled out, etc., so forth. So that's sorry, I saw Adam's comment. Hi, Adam, how you doing? Yeah, we have to indicate what the camera, the setting is going to be as well. So it's going to be a close-up and whatnot, because pencil lines and the lines and whatnot have to stay consistent. So that kind of thing. So yeah, I used to really like working in layout. Unfortunately, everything converted to computers, and it was hard to stay working. And I wound up out of the industry and did caricatures for a long time. So yeah, thank you, Sketchy. And I got Paul. Paul's in here. Yeah, thanks very much, Sketchy. Yeah, I'd like to kind of know a little bit more about what you worked on. But thank you for your input, though. Phil, what did Dana say? You can make character number 2's speech higher than number 1. Add a good example from existing comic. Yeah, I think that adds what do you call, like, a little more domination to that if you make them higher than it. I don't know if that makes it more important or more domineering over the second character or more imposing. But yeah, this is all stuff I've just been kind of playing around with this week. I don't know when you tuned in, Adam, but I've been kind of just doing a little bit of writing and some rough sketches and laying things out. The comic right now looks extremely messy, and I don't even want to show it right now. Like, in my eyes and in my head, I know what's going on, but to anyone else is just like, it looks like it's terrible. I need to strengthen my art, my actual line quality and my construction drawings, because right now I feel like they look terrible. So, but if I can get it all kind of laid out in the next few days, then starting of this month, then I kind of want to start going in and inking everything. So, and that's kind of going to be the show pieces that I want to put up. But how have you guys been? Adam, Paul, how's your week been? I'm drinking a late night cup of tea. What is that? If you have number 2's balloon higher, that dialogue will converge. Oh, yes. See, that's, something, that's actually kind of what I figured. And this is what I meant when I said earlier, like when I was looking up some of Mitch Louise stuff. And while he's a fantastic artist, he's starting this whole thing on laying out comics. And I don't know, I was reading some of it and I kind of disagreed a little bit with it. And maybe you can help me on this. I don't know if you saw me mention this earlier, but he said, don't have them crossing like this. And I thought, Mad Magazine's been doing that for years. They do that all the time. They have their dialogue zigzagging back and forth all the time through theirs. And I always found it fairly easy to follow that. But anyways, I'm going to bring this up and I can check over here, but I'll have a look at what you sent. So Adam, let me go have a quick peek at what you sent me. Oh yeah, see that's perfect. That's yeah. See, I think that's a great example of how you can do that. That's great. Thanks for sending that. That's perfect. And I'm going to actually screen cap that. And Tom Richmond is amazing, isn't he? I don't know. Mad Magazine's been doing that for years. Somebody I was listening to, the person I was reading was somebody named Mitch Louis, who I don't think has a lot, who works in animation. I don't know if he's done much with comics, and he's starting to do a thing on laying out comics, but I don't know if he's really actually done one or not. But the guy's a fantastic artist, but he does more a little bit different. Tom Richmond and Mad Magazine do caricatures, more or less, of things, where this guy does more cartoonish stuff. But if I can show that. Sorry, I'm just learning how to do this. See, how can I, that slides, that's a bit different. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. So that you can see there, that's a great example. Where you've got this character talking first and it's over top. I'm trying to think of the name of that comic. I recognize the characters. It's really nice inking in that. That's a really good job. Yeah, so let me see if I can clear that back up. Yeah, I really should. Google's your friend. I really should. Yeah, I can do that. I guess just because I came across some of Mitch Louis' stuff and I was looking up some things that other people have done that I'm sort of familiar with. But I should see if... no, he hasn't got back to me. I just wanted to see if Henri got mine. Oh, I thought I sent that. I was trying to get a friend of mine in here, Enrique, who I normally do the show with another friend of mine, Enrique, who I've been talking with for like a good 5 years. He's from the West Coast, and he does a drawing. He also has a drawing. He has several drawing channels here on YouTube. Plus, he has a really good Instagram channel called Sketch Monster. And if you ever get a chance to check that out, I recommend it. I just think I could find it here. I think it's called Sketch Monster. I know he's been kind of rebranding a little bit, and I'll have to actually ask him about that. Sketch_Monster1. And maybe actually I'll add that in after in the description underneath. I'll put that in for his. That's his Instagram, by the way. Yeah, one thing with word balloons that took me a long time to learn is that you have to plan out quite a bit of extra room for them. Yeah, absolutely. And to read clearly, you may want to leave even more empty space. Yeah, that's actually a really interesting thing, because that was another issue that I've been kind of running into a little bit, is between them and the characters. Yes. Yeah. And that's the interesting thing, is that because I tend to want to fill the space, because, again, my history with working with storyboarding and film, your composition works a little bit differently, because the characters are going to be audibly speaking. You're going to hear that, so you don't think about putting in speech bubbles. So when you start doing comics, whoop, just lost everything there. Start doing comics, you realize, oh, you've got to indicate that, and your speech bubble actually becomes part of that composition. And that's something I kind of also have to work on in this as well. I'm trying to figure out. So that's a whole new thing as well. But that's actually a really good point in laying out comics. Adam, I don't know if you want to hop in tonight or not. I can give you a thing here if you feel like chatting. If you want to, no pressure if you don't want to. I do want to start actually having some formal guests again. I sort of miss chatting with Enrique and Vince. He's having them in. They got to give something to bounce off of. And Enrique is never short of anything to talk about. He can definitely carry something on his own, that's for sure. Somebody just screwed up with my phone. Let's turn that off for now. Yeah, let's see if I can go back to this here again. Let's see if I can switch back over. Common piece of advice is to leave a third to half of the top of the panel for dialogue. Yeah, it's probably not a bad idea. See if I can switch this over to screen. All right. So yeah, it's when you're working within that confined little space. I guess that's the nice thing, in that when you are working digitally, you can blow that up, because when you're actually working on physical, when you're going like pen and ink directly to paper, you're confined within that space. And I can see why comic book artists, they work actually on double the size, and then it's shrunk down. See if I can. Boy, this is kind of really crude. All right, there, just for now. Show you the rules of composition. Yeah, so this will be similar enough to get a grasp on. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's part of my schooling and what I grew up with, and you learn it. Yeah, you definitely do. 6 years of art school, it was post high school art programs I took. 4 years of animation, 2 years before that for another specialized art program, and yeah, you pick up certain things. So yeah, you'd have to leave a third to half. Even there, you have to kind of this half up above. And I know you can also you can have the bubbles going off the screen like this, which I tend to do, or they can actually even overlap the and block out the corner of the panel. I've seen that quite a few times, and I've done that. Actually, here, let me do this the way you're telling me. So you can have this bit of dialogue here, and then this guy has something less to say. So he might be. So yeah, so this would be first, this would be second. But again, this is pretty kind of just straightforward, straight on the side, one-on-one, two people talking. That's where making something a little bit more dramatic, if one character is like, you know, again, I'm filling up a lot of space here, but didn't leave enough for the dialogue. I could have something like this. And I think I did something like this. I don't know. This guy could even be kind of in shadow because of that one. Right. I did it again. Stupid thing. Whenever I hit the, on these pens, if I accidentally hit the bottom button, it switches to eraser, which is fine. I don't mind that. Oh, there we go. Then I try to switch it back, and it wants to stick in eraser mode, and I'm not getting anything off the screen. And so, so yeah, changing it up something like this, where you have this character who's much more imposing, kind of filling up the majority of the frame, top to bottom. This guy's shrinking back down here, and then you cut to his kind of reaction, looking upwards to something that's this guy's just so big. He's all you see is the edge of his shoulder, so it gives a little bit more of a imposing angle on that. And I think Adam said he can join in about 10 minutes. I'll get him in just for a little bit. There's a possibility of Enrique joining, maybe. He said maybe, but he is busy tonight. If he does, it might not be until later. So already coming up to midnight. Let's see, what else can I do on this? So I'm going to switch to something else because I did save a bunch of things here earlier this week, and I think I kind of covered everything that I was working on. 2, 1, 2. Oh, there we did cover something to do with that, having the first dialogue on the top. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm just looking something up. Blank screen time. And I feel like this hasn't been a terribly interesting stream, but if you can do, it would really help me out if you can give me a thumbs up on the on the bottom there. If you click the thumbs up, it'll just kind of help me boost the channel a little bit, get things out, get it out into the YouTube universe, as it were. Let's just see what's going on here. Sketchy, I'm going to have a look at your, Oh, you have kind of an interesting channel. I'm going to subscribe to you, Sketch. You got kind of an interesting little channel. It's not. You have a lot of videos. Oh, you got more live, but you got some stuff there. I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to subscribe to you. I'll go check out your stuff for sure. If not tonight, maybe tomorrow. Oh, I actually got 4 likes on this so far. All right. That's nice to see. Thank you, everyone. What else I can actually go over for the moment? That's kind of what I really want to talk about was laying things out like this. Just some of my little bits of progress on my adventure in drawing comics, because I said this is all still kind of newish territory for me. So I need to. I'd like to actually spend a little bit more time in it if I can. But oh, thanks, Paul. He has been in the car listening to me. Oh, but I like the topic. Yeah, thanks, Paul. I said this was just something I kind of looked into this week, because I started kind of laying out. It started, just laying out the bits of dialogue and realizing that I kept running the same thing over and over again, where the person on the right has to start talking first. And I need to figure something out with that layout. And it kept happening on like every page. So keep it simple for the reader. Yeah, and I think that's true. Yeah, I've seen a lot of comics, and it seems to be a thing. I opened up one. It was either DC or Marvel. I forget which one it was. One of the big ones. They were supposed to be the professional ones, and I didn't understand a thing. It was all over the place. Like, they had these weird, dramatic, angled, zigzaggy panels and characters leaping across through it, and you're trying to read it, and it's something that's happening that's supposed to be very fast paced, and the bubbles are stretched all over, and I thought, this is an absolute mess. Who okayed this? Like, whose idea was it to lay this out like this and then okay it? Because this is an absolute mess. And I've seen small independent comics that are much more readable, and I think much more interesting. But yeah, and you're absolutely right. And that, I think that was a problem, is at the beginning of mine is a little bit dialogue heavy, and so I'm trying to make it visually interesting. Even though it's just a lot of back and forth, and how to kind of have it not look so static left and right, but how I can maybe feel like I'm moving the camera within that area, the dialogue between these two characters, and how that can visually still be interesting without overdoing it too much and then making it look chaotic and confusing for the reader. I just want to keep it simple. But there is a fair bit of dialogue, and I'm trying to break the dialogue up a bit so that it's not so much dialogue in one panel. And just keep the dialogue really simple, which is where I like actually having the bubbles sometimes actually over top of the panel a little bit, because it gives a little more room to have it go outside of your panel. So you have let's see if I can do this here. If characters talking, and have it. Oh, 1 second, Adam. I see you. Have it like this. So it actually goes out of this way. And I kind of like that, actually. It kind of adds a little more emphasis to that dialogue, and it gives more room to add more in here. And I don't think it makes it that busier. And I think it actually gives a little more room for the dialogue. The characters get undressed. Visually interesting. That's true. I could, except I'm going to do that in mine. What type of comics am I working on? So as I said, I'm part of it as part of an anthology. It's a comedy space adventure, which I'm working on. The anthology book is it's a it says Adam. Oh, there he is. It's it has a sci-fi theme to it, a sci-fi fantasy, space fantasy theme to this particular anthology. And there's a whole bunch of other artists working on their own little shorts, and they'll all be compiled into one book a little later in the year. So, hello, Adam. Saying a bit more.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm going to turn you up just a little bit here. It's a wee bit low, but I have a fan going in the background. If it's too loud, I'll turn the fan off. I got you turned up high here, so.
Okay, cool.
It is low.
I'm pretty close to my microphone, so.
Oh, right. Oh, there. That's a little better. I'm just going to turn off my fan. A little bit distracted. Jeez. That's better. It's quieter in here now. Could you guys hear that fan going in the background? I never realized how loud that was.
I couldn't hear
it. Sketchy.
Yeah, I was trying to think of any other like little tips of dialogue stuff. One thing that I think that we might have talked about before, one thing that bugs me is when characters are speaking in comics, but they don't have their mouth open. Actually, I think the panel that I sent you had that.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, I've seen that a few times too, especially in older ones. But yeah, usually it helps to kind of indicate who's speaking when their mouth is open. So I would think that would kind of be a given, I would think. But
a lot of people do it. It must be like a personal preference or something, because a lot of professionals will do that.
Sketchy Time says, when I was researching comics, Will Eisner would always come up for his innovative comic layouts. I suppose it's the type of comic that dictates the speech bubble usage. The type of comic, I guess it could. I was thinking it's figured to come down like the amount of dialogue and intensity of the dialogue would reflect on that.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, like I was saying, is planning out enough space for it to read clearly. Like, you would, like the placement of speech bubbles or word balloons, whatever you want to call them. You almost have to like plan it out like a third character or something. Like in terms of composition, you want to leave not just enough room for the bubble itself, but the same way you would leave space between characters to kind of read more clearly.
Yes.
Have everything kind of jammed together, it can look cluttered, and it took me a really long time to just get like the hang of that.
I guess too, because it's you are working within a small space, and it's a tendency to want to work a little bit broader when you're actually in a tighter space, and so to actually think that way, and that's where it's actually nice digitally, because then I can just I was going to try and zoom in here. No, it's not. There we go. I can zoom in and then feel like I'm working a little bit bigger and then not feel quite as restrained, because now I'm working in like a larger space here. So, but when you're working physically,
you were talking about you're so used to like the aspect ratio of a screen for animation. Think of that as the spot for your characters and your action, and then put at least, like I said, probably like a third. Like you generally want to plan out like tall rectangles for the most part, because you want to have if you have two characters talking, you want a long rectangle at the bottom worth of space there, but then if you add the room for the word balloons above that, you generally end up with a tall rectangle, like more like a portrait proportion of your panels.
Right, that's a good idea, actually. So this is kind of my workspace. So if I have two characters talking, I'd have them here. These two characters talking. And then you got the room up here for the dialogue. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And the general people, this is another thing too, is like there's all these like little conventions and rules and stuff, and some people follow them and some people don't. But the general rule is, I think you are doing this most of the time, is the stem of the balloon points at the mouth. It came out of like, it was like a wisp of smoke originally. It was like air coming out of their mouth.
Yeah.
But that's another thing that bugs the hell out of me. It's like, I don't know. I have little like pet peeves like that about.
I've seen it where it just sort of points to the character. It wasn't necessarily to their mouth. It just points to that character, so you know who's saying that.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people don't know that it's supposed to be coming out of the mouth. But also, it's like if you have like a composition problem, and it's like it's going to be really awkward for it to point at the mouth. You know, people find little ways around it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's pointing obviously to the person that's talking. But
yeah,
but generally like for example, like you kind of have one where it's like the back of his head. Generally, it's better to, if you can, to make the stem coming like pointing to their mouth rather than
here.
On the very last one that you did.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so it's pointing behind their head.
Like that's just like a minor thing, and yeah, you'll see that all the time, and it's not a big deal. But it's
it feels so weird to bring this because he's got a cap, say, on this one, so I'd have to bring the speech bubble all the way around, or have it go behind the cap. Right.
Just like do exactly like how you had it, but put the stem on the other side. Like you can do stuff like that, but it's like goofy, you know. It'll be distracting. It'll be like a fun. You were comparing to like Mad Magazine or something. You would see something like that, but it's like to be intentionally playful, you know. But like in other words, like the guy with the hat, I would just put the stem on the other side.
Just like, would you just put it here?
Yeah, like that.
Okay. Ooh, that's a bit vague.
But I don't know. And then the other guy too. Like I would have, like in other words, my preference, I guess. I don't even know if it's like a rule or what. It's just that would be my preference. As the other guy talking to, I would have the stem. Yeah, like that.
Like this. All right. It's a little more direct for sure. I mean, a really simple scene like this, I think it's still pretty clear who's saying what because the bubble's like directly above their head, so you kind of know who's saying what. But but when you start getting into more dynamic scenes, then I guess if to avoid any confusion, maybe to have it a little more indicated a little bit better. Paul was saying here he puts his bubbles in first and then the characters.
Oh, interesting! Wow. Yeah, I've seen that as advice for especially for like newspaper comic strips. Like start with the word balloon because you can't really like you can kind of. I think sometimes it's easier to just kind of adjust your artwork. You can't just like leave half of a sentence out. You have to make sure your word balloons are working. Like you can't just like leave part of it off, you know? Yeah. Whereas like you could cut the other side of the rest of his torso down more easily than taking out. Sometimes though, I'll do that where sometimes I will just slightly adjust what I was planning on having written because it's like shit, I ran out of room.
Right.
And I want this to be like 2 words shorter.
I've ran into that a couple of times too, actually, where it's just it's awful.
Yeah, Paul has good advice. And I was just now looking through Paul's comic and Paul's handling of word balloons is really well done. Like the other thing I was going to bring up is I think you touched on this at the beginning, but like try not to have a whole bunch of dialogue in one panel.
I'm trying to avoid that, because as I said, mine's very dialogue heavy at the beginning, and so I'm trying to space it out. There's going to be a lot of talking, so it's going to be you're reading through it, but I'm trying not to put in too much into one panel.
Yeah, like there's times where if you're, kind of know what you're doing, there's times when you can kind of pull that off. There's certain types of scenes that work like that. There's generally an amount of dialogue that most people will consider this is just too much per panel. I don't even want to. I'm not even going to read this.
Yes, I've seen that. Sometimes when somebody has like a really big speech, a really big dramatic speech, and they'll put them way at the bottom, and then you'll have this whole thing filled with this dialogue, and then he's like down here.
You definitely wouldn't want to start your first comic off with something like that, I would think.
Yeah.
But
no, I'm definitely not going to be doing anything like that. But yeah, I guess putting the panels, because you'd still, when putting the panels in first, you'd still have to look at the box visually and know what's going on and understand what kind of dynamics and composition you want. So you'd still have to kind of think about where characters are in that, even though you're starting with bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
and then put the characters in. But Paul says, I question the need for where your characters are, move them.
I agree with that. I think unless it's important to what's happening for the clarity of like if you're establishing where they are in an environment or which person is standing where in a room, and that's important. Outside of that, I feel like the 360 rule of moving the camera around. My general preference is do what is going to suit the dialogue or suit what's happening more than like if having one character in one position just feels right or feels better. If it's just two people talking, it's not going to be like so confusing that they are in a different spot, but
right. Yeah.
It is a pretty like common rule, like quote unquote rule that like you don't want to move your character. Like if you establish that one guy's on the left and one guy's on the right, it's like a taboo to like switch them for some reason. I don't really see.
Because I've got my two main characters sitting in a cockpit. So they're sitting. They can't exactly get up and move. They can't walk around. They're sitting in a very fixed position, and there's dialogue between them back and forth in this cockpit. And you're facing kind of the direction like it's very much like the famous Star Wars shot. You got Han and Chewbacca next to each other, facing each other, right? You can't move them. They have their seats where they are, and you're looking through that cockpit window at where they are sitting. And if they're having a dialogue between each other, you can't move them. You can maybe move the character or the camera behind them, but it kind of makes a sudden jump unless there's a particular reason where you need to see through the window as well. But I thought it seems unnecessary. So, but if it starts where you're facing them, but the person on the right is speaking first, and you're reading when you're reading left to right, then somehow you have to do some sort of adjustment or change, or have him just talking. He's the only one talking in that panel. Then the next panel is the response. Then. Is the only way I can think of doing that. But if you have them both saying the same thing in that one panel, that's where I kind of run into. Yeah, and you could have the camera move behind them. I feel like there needs to be a reason if you do that. I feel like if it goes behind them, just for dialogue, like you need to see something out the window as well. Like there needs to be some reason that camera jumps.
Yeah, I think a lot of it might just be like a matter of preference, but I think the clarity of like if your opening scene is about their dialogue back and forth, if that's the emphasis, in other words, it's your preference, do what you want to do. But if I were handling that, I wouldn't try to think of all the ways I can mix it up and have there's advice for like, especially for like superhero comics, that it's like if there's two people just talking, you have to like have this like intense close up on a coffee mug with the smoke coming off, close up on a fly. You can see every eye of the fly like sucking the coffee, just to add interest. And to me, it's like that's all just like compensating for like the point is this is a dialogue scene. Like it's just it's unnecessary. Like
there is a really interesting layout like that. I have somewhere, I think it's downstairs, I don't think it's upstairs now, but I do have that Drawing Comics the Marvel Way,
Yeah.
And he shows a little bit using a little bit more dramatic angles and that kind of thing.
Yep.
But it's not that the first one is any less interesting. It just it makes it visually more interesting when you see it with these sudden. And one of them was like this close up of the cigarette between his hands, and I was like,
"There you go. That's exact."
Yeah. And
so to me, I find that unnecessary and distracting, and trying to compensate when it's like, if make your scene, if the dialogue is important, make the dialogue important and have two characters having dialogue, and you shouldn't have to make up for it in some other way, is my opinion. If the cigarette is important and the detail of the ash of the cigarette is about to light a fire or something, get a nice good close-up on that and emphasize it. But that's I don't know, that's how I think about it. But when you do look at a page and it's just kind of two people talking and it's talking heads and the whole, if the whole comic is like that, that can become very boring and monotonous.
Paul says the camera jump could simply be to make it visually interesting as long as it doesn't distract from the dialogue. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I don't know. It's hard if you're like just kind of, if this is like the first time you're doing doing comics as your medium, but you kind of, I don't know, you kind of get you
though. Like, this is good for me to learn this and to understand this, because that's something I'd like to kind of keep pursuing a little bit more. So I'm enjoying this challenge kind of thing.
See, Paul agrees with
100%. Yeah.
Very insightful.
No, so I'm kind of excited to keep working on this. So
but my advice is, if you want your comic to have visually interesting things in every single panel and you switch it up, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. Like, and probably there's just as many people that want that as, there's just as many people that find that exciting and switching it up than they would find it distracting. I tend to find that more distracting, but
I could, because my first thought is, if I've got a scene like these two and say this guy here, the darker character here, has to speak first. The most I would want to do. Give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can do this. So he's talking. He's got the first bubble above his head. Maybe instead of just drawing them another panel with the exact same thing, I might just maybe have this guy with the hat, his response, give him his own panel.
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of a close-up. It's not a super dramatic close-up. It's just kind of cutting to him so that he gets his response.
Well, close-ups are great. I mean, it's probably the same in animation, but like if if you have you put a lot of acting and facial expressions into your characters, so that's like a good thing for medium shots and close-ups. Zoomed out as far as you had it in that first panel, that's a good shot for a stab, kind of establishing where they are. But
it's not overly dramatic. It's not an overly dramatic cut. It's not like I mean, the following one, if the fact that this guy is responding again, it doesn't have to be this kind of speech bubble up here. It doesn't need to be kind of that. But Sketchy says, yeah, you know what? I can put this up for just a second. I have that somewhere. The video of Drawing Comics and Marvel. Yeah, they did do a video based on that book. I have that somewhere, and I've watched it like years ago, most of it, I think. And I think I saved it, and I think it might even be on YouTube somewhere. But yeah, it is actually really good. Just to hear them actually more verbally talk a bit more about it. Because it gives you a little bit more with the book. It's actually a good companion with the book to have them both. But yeah, I should see if I can find that. I think I may have saved it somewhere. I'm not sure, though. But I remember that was actually really good, because it was Steve Buscema, I think his name was, that co-wrote it.
Yeah, that's great. I think some of the advice of like superhero stuff is not fully going to apply to more kind of cartoony stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's certain things with dramatic angles and whatnot. If something becomes tense, you might want to do that a little bit, but to overdo it, yeah, I don't know if you when you popped in, but I was saying earlier that I've opened up some, Marvel and DC comics that, these are supposed to be the big professional books, and I see these pages that I actually have no idea what's going on. It's almost way overkill. This where characters like leaping from one panel to another, and the dialogue is zigzagging all over the place, and then the panels even are all in these really dramatic angles, and they're not rectangle, but they're. And I opened it up and went, "What is going on?" And then you try following it, and it's just all over the place. And you have to.
Comic, it was like, or like the era at least.
Yeah,
a lot of like 90s extreme stuff was like that.
Oh yeah. What's his name? I think was like that.
Rob Liefeld.
No, he wasn't the one that came to mind. He did the Spider-Man,
Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane, that was it. His stuff, which I was never a big fan of.
Yeah, I love Todd McFarlane's stuff, but that is one of the things. Actually, Todd McFarlane is one of the guys that does that. What I was talking about before, like it has to be like the close up on the coffee with the bug eye view and all that stuff. Like Todd McFarlane does it all the time. But that's his philosophy. I like that he does it because part of his whole thing is like he wants if any page you look at of his comics, he wants it to look a certain way. He doesn't want to have any dull, moments. So he's following his approach. But I don't know that it. I guess it also just kind of depends on what you're working on.
Scott Serklin, Pulse of Scott Serklin has a good video about comics dialogue as well. I should try and look for that. I should try to go back into his stuff and see if I can find that. I'm sure because I figured he's probably touched on it for sure. I think he's covered just about everything in making comics.
Yeah, there's a great. Did you ever read Wizard magazine?
I know I have a long time ago, but I'm drawing a blank on it at the moment.
There's a great column in there that was like advice of like making comics and stuff. It was actually one of the other Spawn artists, Greg Capullo, did.
Oh, okay.
Did one of the series, but those are pretty great too. Like just like I learned a lot from those like tutorials and that.
Mm-hmm. Sketchy says Marvel is all about extreme poses. I'm quite sure they speak of that.
Yeah. The problem with like if you're going to compare to like if you're looking at like a Marvel or Image superhero comic book for comparison, a lot of that is like well, I guess depending on which era you're looking at, but it's done the Marvel method. I think we might have talked about this last time, but a lot of times, especially the earlier stuff, it's like they knew kind of the gist of the story. The artist would draw out the story before they have dialogue. So you don't have characters acting out what's happening. You have a general idea of the plot, and then the dialogue is fitted to the drawings rather than like in animation or cartoonier stuff. You would kind of write it out as you write it all as one thing, like with the action and the acting, the specific movement of your characters and their facial expressions and stuff, like in mind. So I don't know. Like if you're looking to like superhero comics for examples of how to handle
this is it.
Dialogue, it's going to be handled very differently.
Yes, yeah. This was I had mentioned earlier too that looking at things like and even DC can get very chaotic in some of their stuff as well. But some of the nice like the small independent stuff. My roommate actually picks up a lot of independent comics and that, and some of it is really nicely laid out. Here's somebody doing it just on their own, and there's it seems to be so much clearer.
Yeah.
I was going to say I remember reading somewhere, and it might have even been in the Marvel way, drawing comics the Marvel way. I can't remember, but it was how somebody had drawn out a page and then took it to the editor for approval, and the editor wanted to change it, and he felt this particular panel is more important. This should be larger in the scene, and to switch this around and make it larger so that it pops more and catches the attention. So he redrew it, and then he showed what he had originally and then what the new one was. And I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm thinking, I kind of prefer what you had originally. I think that flows better. I don't know why he had it change it, because now it's, maybe that one might pop a bit more, but it kind of, did I lose you, Adam? Or is there something? Oh, Enrique is here. I'm going to bring in Enrique. Give me 1 second. I'm going to lose this screen. Actually, no, I think I can bring him in.
Hey.
Hey, Enrique.
Hi, Adam.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi. Pretty good. Pretty chill. Just got in.
Oh, that's in.
Oh, my back hurts. What are you guys talking about?
So we've had quite an in-depth conversation here since the start. I had talking about laying out comic book panels and putting in dialogue bubbles, and how to arrange those speech bubbles and how to make it legible to a reader, and laying out a page.
That's awesome.
So it's been a little bit of it was kind of something I've been working on a little bit this week, and I've been kind of looking up other artists and how they've handled laying out a scene like that to put in dialogue. So it's been a little bit of an interesting challenge, just because I'm not used to working in comics. So working in film and in animation, you don't think about putting in speech bubbles in your frame because they're verbally talking. But now I have to think about that. I have to think about where the placement of that is. So
yeah, that's cool. I've never really been into making comics. Like, I read a lot of them, but I've never been into I think I noticed those are the first people I saw at conventions that would everybody's like, oh, I don't make money. Yeah, this makes nothing. I'm just doing this.
Oh.
And I was like, as a young kid, and I was like, oh man, I better not go that direction now. But I love to do it. I would love to try it one day. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm eating pancakes. Sorry about that.
It's all right. Yeah,
don't let me interrupt. I mean, I don't know if you guys are in the middle of digging into that.
No, I think we just kind of made a brief point, but sketchy. So, yeah, my particular one is.
I can't remember, because we kind of talked about this a few weeks ago. It was like a similar thing about it was more like kind of maybe layout and stuff. But I just sent you a link to something called the Comic Strip Artist Kit by this Disney artist. And it has some really great advice on just planning out where the placement of dialogue and, stuff that you would probably already know from animation, but like when to use an up shot and when to use a down shot and just things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Some of that is actually in that Disney Illusion of Life book. Like they show like one little sample from this artist kit thing, but it's like a 8-page thing or something.
Sorry, I'm trying to find a better layout. There, I guess that'll work. All right, yeah, I'll actually have a look at that. Actually, that's why I kind of changed this so I can go back and open what you sent me.
But yeah, I when I discovered this, it helped me a lot, especially with comic strips specifically, because it's like the space in a comic strip is even more limited.
Actually, that was my first interest a long time ago when I was young. As I thought I wanted to be a newspaper comic strip artist. Right. I wanted to do that actually, as opposed to comic books. I actually like the idea of these little few panels to tell a gag. It always felt like
this. Mm-hmm. The newspaper comics, do they still? I mean, I don't know. Maybe the newspaper's not around as much, obviously, but
that's the only problem is because everything's online. You could probably still draw like that. It's just people put that now on social media. They don't, newspapers. There might be some comic space in newspapers, but
you like Mr. Lovenstein or something, some stuff like that.
Who?
It's a Instagram. It's pretty big. I think it's called Mr. Lovenstein. It's on. It's just one of those comics. But you're right. Yeah, it's like I see them on Instagram. It's almost like that's the first place they put them now.
Yeah.
Whoops. Watch a few. Wait, which ones do you guys watch? Like, which ones do you guys follow?
It's interesting you asked this. Sketchy Times here asks which newspaper comics did I like. This is going back to the 70s now for me, but I grew up reading like Peanuts, and
I'm a huge
fan. You know who I loved was actually Wizard of Id and BC were two of my favorites. And I think it's because it was by Brant Parker and Johnny Hart. And I forget which one it is, but his grandson now continues it. He still draws BC, and it's on Instagram. He's got a long, funny name, and I can't think of what it is. I'd have to actually kind of do a search on Instagram. I know I followed it. I have to dig him up, but he continues it, and he draws it in the exact same style as his grandfather did. Like it looks like he's continued.
Is the account still BC on Instagram or?
I have to dig it up. I think it's under his name on Instagram.
If you find it, send it to me. I don't know. I
yeah,
like BC.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. But you can tell the only thing is he's very religious. So there's a lot of Christian themes that come through it. So that's the only thing. But not all the time. But yeah, let me see if I can.
Garfield?
I did. Yeah, I remember when Garfield started because when he first started Garfield, everyone kept talking about it, and I wasn't big on it. I was still kind of into the classics that I was still reading. But yeah, it kind of grew on me after a while. After I started reading him, I thought, yeah, this is actually pretty funny.
So, yeah, I like it. I mean, the cartoon. I watched the cartoon as a kid as well in the early '90s. That was fun. But I know that it kind of made a resurgence, right, in an ironic way. The last 10 years.
Sorry, say that again.
I'm sorry. Is my mic okay, or is it chewing?
I think it was actually because I was coming through on this monitor, and I just didn't.
Oh, okay.
Monitor.
You know, like that resurgence Garfield made in the last 10 years in an ironic way.
Oh, yeah. I get.
Funny and neat, like
or like Garfield without Garfield, where they'll edit him.
Yeah, it's so funny. That was like one of the funniest things ever. Yeah, I love that. I bought a video game. This is like last year. I bought a racing game, a Garfield racing game, because those racing games are never bad. But that's probably the first bad racing game I've ever played.
Oh.
I mean, it was cheap. It was like $10. I'm like, yeah, $10, sure. That's pretty bad. I also got it's called Stranger Planet. Have you guys heard of that one? It's on Instagram. It's a modern one, but it's in the same style. It's about the alien thing. I got a little picture of it. See, I have the book here sitting. You see that thing? No.
Oh, okay.
No bells or
no.
Oh,
there's not really any modern stuff that I'm interested in of comic strips.
I think I like 3, but a lot of the ones I like are lewd. They're funny. Like Elder Cactus. That's like a real lewd one. That's about it. I think I can only think of 5 that I follow right now. But which one did you like, Adam?
To me, Calvin and Hobbes is the end all be all, the best comic strip.
Yeah,
that's a great one.
But I like a lot of old comic strips, kind of before my time, like Crazy Cat and Pogo, and I really love a lot of the early adventure strips, like Terry and the Pirates and Flash Gordon and stuff like that.
Ooh, wow, that's
nice
nice
to get those old books.
I just entered a name into the chat. That's the individual now who's the grandson of Johnny Hart and is continuing his comic. I can't pronounce his last name. His first name is Mason Mastroianni, I think. That's the guy. Actually, if you look him up on Instagram, he's the guy who's continuing BC.
That's cool. Yeah, I screenshot it right now.
Yeah, okay.
Are you gonna do one of those, Phil? Are you planning on doing a comic strip one day? Like it's going to be
comic strip. I don't know. We'll see. I'm working on this anthology comic right now. But,
yeah. How far are you through it?
For what the I've written it out. I've sketched most of it out. It's really, really rough right now. But I'm going back in to clean it up and start inking it. Hopefully, over this, I want to spend over the next couple of weeks doing so. But it's very, very messy looking at the moment. But it's just enough. Like I can look at it and understand what it is because it's mine. But I think if I was to try and show it to anybody, it would just look like this huge mess. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But
when's it due?
What's that?
When's it due? When's the due date?
Oh, August. I think it's August 8th.
Oh, you got time.
Adam, was that it? August 8th, I think you said?
Yeah, August 8th is day 100.
Okay. Yeah, I should do. I'm trying to keep it very simple and not. It's just the introduction to the story, so I'm just trying to keep it really short. So enough to kind of generate some interest.
Did you talk about your that Instagram video that went pretty big?
I think I've kind of talked a little more about that last week.
You did? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I did this random. I think I don't know if I was talking about this, Adam, or not, but I posted just a random Instagram video, and all it was just to show a head turning and where you actually find the proper 3/4 view, and that's not where you think it is until you actually do like a down view of it, and then you can see where actually the exact center of a 3/4 view is. And it's really short, 1 minute thing, and for whatever reason, that thing got like 60,000 views out of the blue. I have no idea why. I did a follow-up video on something else on adding a little life to your characters, your sketches, and it's done okay. It's done pretty well. It's done about 3,000 or 4,000, but not 60,000. I don't know why that one suddenly took off. How that hit the algorithm? What if it was something in the title or what? I don't know. But
I know what it was. I can tell you because when I saw it, I'm like, this could do really well.
Yeah.
Before it went well, I think it's.
I thought it was maybe because you shaved it.
That too. I mean, I might have boosted it a little bit. Like I might have started that ball a little bit, but it wouldn't have gone anywhere if it wasn't like a video that I think somebody would have to rewatch. So the first thing I thought about that reel was that it's a how-to. People save how-tos more often because they want to check back to them later, and when they save them, that's really good for the algorithm. So that's why I was telling you should do more like how-tos because those do really, really well. The other thing was I felt I had to watch it twice because when you said it, I was like, it went quick. I'm like, what? I have to rewatch that. And I know rewatching is a really big as well. So and it cuts so quickly at the end, and I was like, oh, okay. I wonder if this is gonna go okay.
It was to keep it under a minute. It was really hard to edit that down to keep it tight. Because I wanted it originally for YouTube Shorts, and it has to be under a minute. And because YouTube, they'll screw up your short. But on YouTube, it hasn't done anything. I think it's gotten like 4 views. But
yeah, I noticed. Have you tried? You should try it on the Facebook Reels because I think Facebook and Instagram are connected.
Yeah, well, it did show up. It did show up on the Facebook Reel as soon as I put it on Instagram. It went to it automatically went on Facebook as well. So
it did. Because I know sometimes they correlate. Did it do okay there or not really?
I haven't even looked yet, to be honest. I didn't even think about it. So I didn't think Facebook,
a lot of mine correlate. Like I'll put the same ones on TikTok and they do nothing, but they do okay on Instagram. If they do okay on Instagram, they'll do okay on Reels on Facebook, and then YouTube it's kind of a mixed bag. But yeah, I think I was gonna tell you. I mean, obviously you have no time. You got to finish this anthology thing, but you should post a reel every 5 days if you can do it. Because now that you have that,
I'd like to try and do one weekly, and even if I can do something, say if it's something I'm working on in my comics, I might be able to use that as part of an example on it. Say,
right. But the algorithm's gonna favor you for a certain point. That's why that video you put right after did okay. It's like your new low level now is like 2,000 to 3,000 now. That's your new low level.
Okay, right.
For now. But I mean, if you wait like a month or two, it's probably gonna sell by it. But just just do whatever you want. But definitely.
No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because you ride that wave a little bit. But yeah, no, great. That was awesome. Yeah, I'll boost whatever you put up. Whatever you put up.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to get more traffic. I said this once. I'm trying to get more traffic on my little stories because my little stories, they used to get like 3,000 or 4,000 views, just the 24-hour stories. And then now they get like 400, 500 to 1,000 views. And it's like zigzagging. I don't know how to keep it. I don't know how to keep it right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still kind of a mystery to me, the whole thing, how that works. So,
well,
I'd like to actually post some progress of my comic, though. Once I start kind of cleaning the drawings up, I'd like to actually even post some progress. Not as, I don't know if I'll post them as reels, but it'll be as some images, and then maybe I'll try and do a reel about once a week. So,
yeah, that's a good idea.
So,
definitely.
Yeah.
Think about people who don't know who you are, don't know.
Yeah.
Beginners to drawing or something like that. I know a lot of stuff's aimed at beginners, which is the way I've had more little success with that is aiming at beginner artists as opposed to like people who know what they're doing.
Yeah. Like we've talked about this guy before, Scott Savard. He does his little shorts and everything do really well.
Oh my god, yeah.
And he's doing this one where has the woman. He's been following the series of him painting this woman standing in a window and having this beam of light come across her and across the books in the background. And he's been posting the progress of this and has been making quite a unique story out of it. And I think that's kind of what it's hold your interest because you can't wait to see what the next step is now. What's the next part going to be? And then he says, how he lost some of his cross hatching because of the dark paint and then you see a little bit more done. I thought, he's really this is really holding people's interest now to see the progress of this.
He's the one with the Hobbit house, right? The one.
Yeah.
I think a big thing with him too is that he shows his real life a lot. Like he's got like a cool car and he's got like this cool bag and like like he's just a cool guy. Like period. That's kind of the way.
But he also like you can tell they're not hurting for money. Those.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're probably
they produce their own animated movie, and then like, yeah, okay, you guys have got some dough, so yeah.
Yeah, I know when you first told me about him, I checked a lot of his numbers, and I'm like, he's got to be making a certain amount of thousands of dollars a month just off this stuff, and I'm like, oh man, this guy has to be doing well.
Yeah. Adam, are you? I guess you're probably not familiar with that name, Chris Sava Art, are you? He doesn't do comics, but I do recommend checking him out. His work's actually really interesting. I'll send you a link to him later. He does more portraits of watercolor and gouache and that kind of thing, but he has a really kind of unique style to it. And his delivery on how he presents his stuff is really interesting. He makes all his stuff like really fascinating to watch. And
it feels like I'm watching PBS or something like that, like a little a mini doc. I was like, I went over here and I did this. I went out to paint over here. Like it's
yeah, I know
but he's also a workhorse though. That guy posts like constantly, and he's doing lives. He's doing doesn't he do like a live almost every day? You said?
I think so. And he has his wife involved too, so he can keep working, and his wife will read the questions and the comments that everybody says. Everybody's punching in, and then he can kind of keep working and respond to what people are saying. So,
yeah, I still gotta go live. I haven't gone live. I gotta go live on my channel.
I'd love to actually watch one. Yeah.
I know.
That's why I thought maybe this, like doing art block. I thought I had the idea of maybe once in a while you could host it if you want on your channel. If you'd like, it's up to you. But
I don't know. We'll see. I gotta go live once on my own to figure it.
Yeah.
to figure it out. I don't even. Yeah, I haven't gone live. I think the other thing I've gone live on is TikTok, and those are just jokes. It's like me drunk with my friends in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Those are not art related.
I haven't. I've run out of patience for TikTok. I want to do whatever. It's such a toxic place. I'd much rather put my stuff on Instagram. TikTok is just an awful place.
I never use it. I mean, I use it just to skim, funny stories, but I don't post on it anymore.
Yeah.
But
I think this is a terrible environment.
Have you tried posting on there lately, or?
I put some funny, stupid little thing up there again that's actually not even really art related. I forget what it was. It was something to do with
They said you're racist or what?
No. It was something to do with being a Gen X. That it's.
Oh.
Yeah,
and then what? People were mean or whatever in the comments? Or
no. They actually just didn't get anything. Just got a few views, but that's about it. But it doesn't matter what I post on there. It never. If you really want a following on TikTok, like they even say you have to post like several times a day.
I saw that. Yeah, they say like post like 5 times a day. It's like, what?
Who has time for that? No.
And there's no money in it either unless you guide them towards something else.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, that program doesn't pay out that much, I heard. Yeah, I don't. I forgot to say this too. One of my reels, I said this last time, but I didn't say this other part. So I basically go to my Instagram, download my own Instagram stuff without the watermark on it, and then I put it on Reels separately, like Facebook Reels. I'm sorry, Facebook Reels, and that Godzilla one, right? I told you about that. It got 600,000 views, which is for sure bigger than any other video on there. But it got 600,000 views on the reel like in 2 weeks. But I got more. I never get rude comments ever throughout my stuff. That's ever. Good. But I got more rude comments on that.
Really?
Yeah, just because there was so much traffic, I guess, going into one video so fast. I guess that was that. It's not even like that rude, really, but it's more like condescending, weird, like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, I hate you, or stuff like very like personal for no reason. I'm like, what's that about? Like,
I put something in there, and I kind of felt a little bit bad afterwards because I posted something, and I thought, I hope that doesn't come across the wrong way.
No. I didn't think
something that was a little more
that's different.
Criticism about it, but yeah.
No, that's not. Yeah, that's not what I mean. Criticism is different, and it was just like being rude and trying to be personal right off the bat. And I'm like, I know it's the internet, but. Like, I've been on YouTube for, 7 years, and I can only remember, like, 2 really bad comments, and that's it, like, over 7 years. Art channels are not very controversial, unless you're doing political art or something.
Yeah.
But that was I thought it was, like, very funny.
Somebody always out there, there's some troll out there who just wants to, like, waste people's times.
Yeah, and I mean, I am a troll. I am a troll, but, like, so I know. Like, I know the biggest thing they want is a response, and I told you that the other time. Somebody responds to me, yes, it doesn't even matter like what the response is because this guy who owns the account responded to me. But yeah, one second, let me eat cheesesteak here. What is your
we kind of we were talking about comics and doing bubbles and comics, and they were talking.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, let's go back to that. Let's go to bubbles and comics.
There's only so much you can say about
dialogue and
comics.
So like, is there? I'm assuming there's so much to learn about that. There's got to be a lot to that, right?
What actually led me into this is because I know you're familiar with this person. Is I'd come across you familiar with Mitch Louis?
Yeah.
Are you? Yeah. So I guess he started something on drawing comics, and that was kind of what I started looking at. Was he was starting to talk about laying in the bubbles in the comics, and his stuff's really good. I know he's worked in animation. He's a really good cartoonist, but I'm not sure if he's ever really worked in comics. Like, his stuff is all really basic and straightforward, but there's a few little interesting points he brought up that kind of brought to my attention. But
he's a really good teacher. I noticed that. He really knows how to simplify his teaching down.
Because it was a couple of things where I actually looked at, and he was talking about having when you're putting in dialogue, and then if the characters are talking, to go left to right, and he says you shouldn't cross the dialogue arrows. And I thought, Mad Magazine did that all the time. What are you talking about?
You should have wrote that in the comments in his 100 comments section.
Yeah, time, but yeah. So that's kind of what kind of causes, because as I was laying out the panels, I realized that I had the characters. One talking to a character who's on the left and right, and I can't move them. They're in a fixed sort of environment, but the person on the right has to start talking first. So to have the bubble on the wrong side sort of thing start talking first. And that's what kind of set all this off. So that it actually flowed properly. But how to set that up so that the character on the right can talk first, and then have the character on the left reply, but within the same box, and how to kind of go about handling that dialogue. And that's what I think kind of set me off on this whole train of thought this week, and what started talking about it. Terry's here. Hello, Terry.
Hey, Terry.
Hi. Hey, Terry, what's up?
Oh, you know what? I think I mentioned this last time too, but another thing that it took me a long time to learn for doing dialogue is leaving. And this is another thing where it's like you'll see people not do this, but I think it always looks way better if you leave quite a bit of a margin, like if you treat the balloon or bubble as like the same way on a page you would have a margin of just white space around it. You know what I mean? So in other words, the text doesn't just go straight up against the border of it.
So the ink, there's a bit of white space between the ink lines kind of thing. So the ink of the bubble is not touching the ink of the character kind of thing.
No. I'm saying within the bubble itself, like putting quite a bit of space in between the border of the circle and the text itself. So like
the text, yeah.
Like a lot of times I will just kind of draw an oval for the balloon, and then I'll draw another one just to indicate I don't want any of my text going outside of this margin, because it becomes so cluttered, and
And that's where if somebody's saying quite a bit, if somebody has a long spew dialogue, should I break it up into two separate panels, or how do you fit that when you have somebody saying a large amount of dialogue and you've got to squeeze that in?
My advice would be almost never. There's very rare instances where you ever want to have a lot of dialogue in one panel. Like my advice would just be try to never do that unless it's very specific to like you said, if someone's like giving a speech or something, that would be maybe an instance. Or if the joke is they just keep talking and talking, like if that's but even then it's like I would not put that much. I'm trying to think of what would be like a good balance. I was just looking at Paul's comic. I think he has like a perfect balance of that, where it's like I think he had the maximum of like 3 in a panel. 3 balloons.
3 balloons per panel.
Like if it was dialogue heavy, like it would be, I think like 3 or 4 would be. He would have like 3 or 4 small ones. I think too, if like you split it up into multiple ones. Do you have a copy of Paul's comic?
No, I don't.
Okay,
not yet. I'd like to.
Let me see. I'm trying to think. It's like if you do have something where you're doing more than usual amount of dialogue, if you split it into multiple balloons, that breaks up the monotony of it. But like if you have any scenes where you're trying to get a lot of dialogue across, my advice would just be don't try to jam it into one page or one panel. Like it's not received well.
I can't.
Is it good for them to capture a lot of attention? Is that the point of that, or is it not? I don't know how to ask that question, but do you guys know what I'm saying? Like, should it be? Is it better if it's like dull lettering? Is that like, or does that stuff matter? Or if it's like too wacky, the shapes or something?
I think it's a matter of preference. I find some artists who do all kinds of like really interesting lettering and they use all different fonts and stuff, I find it extremely distracting. But some people like that sort of thing. I feel like
excuse me for about 2 minutes. I've got to just run around the corner for a minute.
Let's talk about this.
Like word balloons and stuff like that is, the clarity and the function of it just being very clear and not distracting and not confusing in any way is the main thing I would go for. But
yeah, because I'm thinking back to old comics and I was like, yeah, I remember them not being wild, and when they were, I would notice it, and I don't remember what I felt. I don't remember if I felt good or bad about that. But yeah, is it pretty standard though? I'm assuming, like throughout the industry, or is there no standard?
I think I think a lot of stuff is pretty standardized.
Okay.
Or at least they used to be. I don't know, maybe not the past 10, 20 years, but in the 20th century it was pretty straightforward, like
right. Right. I don't think I've bought a comic in the last couple of years. I should. I used to buy Spawn until it got really crappy. And then I tried buying it lately again. I was like, you know what? I loved reading the first. I forgot what it was. I don't remember where I stopped, but I know they just celebrated their 300th issue. I think
something like that. Yeah,
something like that. And I bought it and I read it, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm just lost or. I mean, I was like, what is happening? I mean, I was lost, but I also thought it was stupid too. Still, but I don't know. Maybe I took that one comic out of context.
I remember. I can't remember if it was 300 or 250. Somewhere around there was like this big kind of epic issue that came out, and I hadn't read a new issue of Spawn in a really long time, but it seemed like at least that one issue they were like kind of returning back more to similar to a style of how it originally started out, whereas like current issues of Spawn, it doesn't even look like the same comic anymore.
Yeah, I miss, because that was my favorite comic growing up. I think around, again, I can't remember what issue, maybe 2003. I don't remember, somewhere around there. I just stopped reading it as much, but I was collecting every single issue. Nice. Yeah, I really like that series. I mean, the movie, I knew the movie was terrible, but like it was still fun to watch it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope they make a new one, because I keep hearing he wants to make like a new one. They've been talking about that for like 10, 15 years of making a new movie. But
I think it's been in development for a while, and it's just like, I don't know. I haven't heard any updates on that, but
yeah. I only heard weird little updates, but like nothing concrete, you know. But I know he talked to, God, who was that? Jamie Foxx, and I don't know how his health is right now, but he was supposed to play Spawn in the new one.
That would have been
cool. I'm back, Terry. You should put the chat on strike.
Chat on strike. Oh my God, that's funny.
I'm not as young as I used to be, and there's certain things that you just can't hold on to as long anymore.
You could just say you could go to the bathroom, like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my God.
I was trying to find something here, and I cannot. I may have lost the folder. Ugh, this is not good.
Did you ever watch Meat Canyon? I know that's an animation and not a comic, but.
No, I don't. Not familiar with that.
Do you know who that is? What that is, Adam? It's an animation that they'll take SpongeBob or Garfield and animate them really grotesque, like Ren and Stimpy, like grotesque. It's on YouTube. You guys should look it up. They're like so gross. They're funny. That's the kind of thing, you know what I mean? I don't know, but they're starting to get popular because they started doing this with political figures, and they did it with Andrew Tate, and they'll start doing it with celebrities now. But it's starting to get kind of big, I noticed. But I think their SpongeBob one was the one that was like that really brought me to that.
Interesting. It's called Meat Canyon. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Meat Canyon.
Why does it? It's based off of a comic. Why does it sound? That does actually sound familiar now.
I don't know if it's based off a comic, and I only found it a year ago, so I don't know a lot about it. But it's on YouTube. It's a pretty big YouTube channel. But
I think I may have seen it. Yeah, I think I used to have a roommate that lived here before that's since moved out, but I think he used to watch it. I think I remember sitting here seeing some of it. It is really gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Ugh.
Yeah,
I wouldn't recommend it for everybody.
Yeah, it's pretty. So. I think Vince is the one that told me about it. Like, so that's where I got it from.
Yeah, I'll see if I can dig that one up. Because it was that, and I used to watch another one about with this llama, this talking llama. I used to watch all the time. That kept saying Carl all the time until when it was drove me crazy and I couldn't watch it anymore.
I'm not sure about the llama one. If you ever find that, show it to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating. How long have you guys been live, by the way? When did you guys come on?
Oh, I don't know. I'm showing 2 hours now. 2 hours and 2 minutes.
Okay,
Adam
sweet.
came in about a half hour in, I think, or more, maybe an hour in.
Nice.
Good,
Phil,
so, yeah.
Phil, I'm gonna leave right now though, because I just want to pop in for half an hour. I got to finish some editing for my sister's wedding, so. But I just wanted to definitely pop in. All right, see you later,
I'm
Adam.
glad you did. It was nice. It was nice chatting with you.
Well, yeah, that's why I popped in. I wanted to. Yeah, I like doing this. All right, I'll see you guys. See you later, Adam. See you, Phil.
See you later.
Take care, Enrique. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, later.
Cheers. That was Enrique, ladies and gentlemen. I'll put his YouTube and Instagram information, and I got to adjust the title and the title and description. I think I'm gonna change up a little bit. So hey, Vic is here. Who blocked the art? Would you recommend it? Oh, the one he was talking about. Yeah, I don't know. It's when something's kind of gross just for being gross's sake. I kind of I don't know. It's sometimes hard for. Sometimes if something's written funny and it makes me laugh, okay. But sometimes when it starts getting overboard on how gross something is, it's like this is just not entertaining for me anymore. Jerry's, this is Adam and Phil, my dream, my nightmare. Which is which? But yeah, we were. I did have something up here earlier. You know, it's funny. I went to look at what you were showing me there, Adam. That I still have it open here. And some of this, yeah, the Disney one showing Mickey and Goofy, showing how they were laying out the page, and some of this is in my animation Illusion of Life book, the Disney animated book.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is like I think like at least like one panel or something from that is like I think like when they show Mickey Mouse with twins, or he's like looks like cardboard cutout or something. I'm pretty sure that's in the
yeah. That's from Illusion of Life. And I think there was another one here. I could be wrong, but no, this is actually interesting. I'd like to keep this link. I definitely like to refer back to it.
I was trying to think of any
really
other
well
thing.
done, actually. Yeah,
I'll look through. I have some other. I probably have a couple other things kind of like that. That's probably the best one though that I can think of, just as like a short little introduction.
It's a little thing too, and they show. There's one here that's got them in a car, and he's shown no detail to them. They just kind of silhouetted, and I've seen that in some cases where something was kind of going off in the distance, and I had a bad habit of actually trying to add too much detail to those things. Where, in some cases, just to actually silhouette it is just enough to indicate it, and if the characters are distinct enough, you can tell which one's which. And to just
Cherry says, how's that tree treating you? The tree that I was having issues with in the past, they actually came and trimmed it, so it hasn't been nearly as bad.
There's been an issue with the tree?
Well, if that's what she's talking about, that was a long time ago.
Oh,
I think that's what she's talking about.
I've seen some of this where he trips over with the tennis racket, and he trips over the. I've seen some of this before. Huh. I'm sorry, I'm being distracted by this, but it says there's a healthy amount of grossness. I don't know. Whoops. I'm just happy to Adam doing good again. I think he needs to see Adam.
Well, I don't know if I'd say I'm doing good, but thank you, Vic.
I do want to apologize, Adam. One of the reasons I did also want to come in is because I know I haven't exactly been involved online very much with the anthology, and I haven't forgotten about it. Again, it's just been life. But as long as everybody's been kind of working away, and I haven't seen or received any kind of new announcements or anything yet. So, but I have 2 commissions that I've been have had thrown at me this week that are paying commissions, and I'd like to they're not very big, they won't take very long, but I want to get them done and kind of out of the way. So I might probably try and do that over the next couple of days and try and get them done by it's already the 29th. Good heavens. I'd like them done by the 1st or 2nd, at least on that weekend. Get them done and out of the way so I can get back on board with the anthology. But I've had some things kind of come up this past week. I went to Toronto to visit a couple of friends for a bit, and so I've been involved with a couple of things there just briefly. And then now that I'm kind of back, I'm trying to get things back together this week. And yeah, so I just I know I kind of haven't been that involved on the Facebook group, but yeah, I do want to I got to get these done and out of the way. So that paper is not a whole lot. One fella is he's actually like some sort of, he's like a personal trainer, fitness coach kind of thing online, and he approached me like about almost 10 years ago to draw something for him, and I did something for his page, and then about every 4 to 6 months, he kind of drops something else on my lap again and says, "Hey, could you work on another little thing for me? And here's something else." And he's always so about twice a year, I'll do something for him. And so he always kind of comes back to me. I give him kind of a good deal on the stuff, but he's always asking me to work on something for him. Just some little cartoon of him because he in his Instagram, he'll on his Instagram page, he'll put bits of information, and he'll have a cartoon of him kind of doing something, kind of explaining it. Great. Yeah. That's our Adam. That renewed subscription off Melon paper. That renewed subscription of Melon paper. Melon paper.
You're saying you have paper money to renew your subscription of Melon.
Oh, I see. Okay. Do you know, actually, it's actually not called Melon anymore because it's been bought by Streamlabs. So now it's called Talk Studio. It's not called Melon anymore.
Oh wow! How long was it called Melon then? Like for a week?
When I found it, I found it and it listed under Melon, but it's had some sort of connection with Streamlabs, and so because I have Streamlabs, I went with it. But then Streamlabs, I don't know if they owned it to begin with and changed it, or if they completely bought it out, or how that all came about. But now it's called Talk Studio Streamlabs. So
interesting.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I kind of just prefer to just call it Melon as well, but I almost went on StreamYard tonight because I was having a little trouble setting this up tonight, and I thought I still have my StreamYard account. I'll go over there, and I almost hopped in there, and because trying to see what options they were, and I thought, do I I wanted to have a look again to see what the options were on their free account. And there's still, because I'm paying about Canadian, I pay about $12 a month for this, what I have here. And there is a free version. But I like the extra little bells and whistles. I like the nice countdown at the beginning. The fact I can have 1 minute, 5 minute, 10-minute countdowns. There's different kinds. There's different backgrounds, like this moving purple and blue that you see. Like it. There's different variations on that I can put in, and I could actually put in my own if I'd like. The background music. I know the only thing is the StreamYard has a selection of its own background music where Streamlabs does not. But I can add something. I can pick something and add it in. So. But yeah, so I like the extra little bells and whistles here that I have with Melon or Talk Studio now, and I kind of want to keep this. Now I'm kind of used to it, but I know it's not as popular as StreamYard. Everyone talks about StreamYard, but it's twice as much money. Like the first tier, Canadian, is $20 a month. No, actually, it's more than that. I think it's 20 American, isn't it? I think it's 20 American. It was really expensive. And to buy out a full year would be like $300 Canadian or more than that. And I thought, screw that. I don't, there's got to be a better option. So that's why I found this. So it gives me some nice bells and whistles, and it's a little more affordable. So.
Oh, real quick, Terry says she was out with Jen. That's cool. How's Jen doing, Terry? I haven't talked to her in a while. And Vic says, "Oh, did you see that?"
Art museum and saw real art, and it kind of it depends on what you mean by real art. Because I've been to some art museums and seen some stuff that was crap, and I've been to other art museums and saw stuff that was really nice. So it depends on what you mean by real art.
What art did you see, Vic?
Yeah,
but it was just like
art
splattering.
I'll never forget. I went to one show when I was like 18, 19, and I was in the special art school in London, Ontario. We took a trip, I think, to Detroit, to their art museum, and there was a giant canvas on the wall, big 10-foot by 8-foot wide canvas, and literally it was a red streak up one side and across the top, and that was it. And it was like multiple thousands of dollars. And I thought, I'm doing something wrong. What the hell? How do you do that? And it was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen. 20 Canadian is like, what, $5? Yeah, probably close to that. I think it's like 70 cents per dollar. So I think $10 Canadian, I think, is like 7 Canadian or 7 American, I think. Well, paper rock is textured like bay. Like bay. Terry says she's doing good. She's looking fly and started dating him.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know who these people are. Oh, like hey. Oh, I see. Oh, so very straw-like. Okay, yeah. I don't know. Depends on what kind of brush they're using too. Lawrence Harris. Lauren Harris. That's a name I haven't heard in a while. Actually, if you talk to Canadians, they'll probably say Paul Peel, but I've seen the Paul Peel exhibit. I really liked it. I really like Paul Peel.
Is Big Bang Mama suggesting that the one painted line might have been Lauren Harris or somebody else? What was it? You said it was a giant canvas and it was just like one red.
Yeah, it was giant white canvas and one red. Like somebody took stuck a brush in a can of paint, red paint, drew a line up the left and across the top, and then that was it. Lauren Harris. Oh yeah, that's right. That's why I didn't recognize it. It's the Group of Seven. Yes, I forgot all about them. If you're not, Group of Seven is a famous group of artists from late 1800s to early 1900s who did some fantastic work of very unique style of painting their stuff, but it was landscapes, Canadian landscapes. Just some beautiful, beautiful work. If you have a chance to look up the Group of Seven, I recommend it.
Vic says, then an exhibit was a disassembled chair, and I felt disrespected and left.
I've seen stuff like that. Walk into this giant room, and in the middle of it is like this little lump of something, a disassembled chair or something. Yeah.
I love when like the janitors accidentally throw out the artwork because they can't distinguish it from garbage.
I know, right?
That's really funny, Vic.
Emily Carr, that's another good one. Big Mad Mullen mentioned. Emily Carr was another famous one. Yeah, she was.
I used to do some kind of, abstract expressionist type stuff like that back in the day, but I couldn't really understand. Like, sometimes it was like I really had like a a thought or a story or an emotion behind something. And people would respond to you like, oh my gosh, like they would, it seemed like it didn't seem proportional to the painting, because it's like, well, this has meaning for me because I know what it's about and I know like kind of what I was doing. You know what I mean? It had like a personal significance, it had like a sentimental value. But I couldn't really make sense of why anyone else that didn't really know like what it was about would value it. But I kind of grew out of that phase quickly.
Sometimes if you look up, find out what inspired some of these comic book artists, what artists inspired them, and then look up that work too. That's because there is some really good. There's a lot of non-comic book artists who are really fantastic artists. I loved Norman Rockwell. I still really like his work, although it's been argued if he was considered an actual artist or illustrator, and there was a huge debate on that. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I really like Norman Rockwell a lot. I have like a couple of mugs, and I think I have a book by him somewhere.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I used to really like. I did a whole paper on him in school, in high school. Vic, if you're not familiar with Norman Rockwell, I recommend looking him up. Really great stuff because it's almost kind of cartoonish. Because his stuff was kind of, he had such great expression on their faces, and if you're not familiar, he used to paint images for a magazine called the Saturday Evening Post, and he did hundreds of paintings, oil paintings, but very realistic looking, but it was very much this kind of slice of life, and each image almost kind of told a story in itself. I really like his work.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Rockwell definitely has like, he doesn't really do cartoony stuff, but some of the principles of like the clarity and just like the I'm not quite exactly sure what, like facial expressions sometimes they're not necessarily exaggerated, but they're just like fun. They're
a little bit like if you look at some of them, somebody yelling, how far the mouth is open, it's almost a little bit, tiny bit beyond what it's actually natural, but it's just enough to kind of really indicate
everything he does is like physically possible, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rockwell's great.
Did you see this stuff with Jack Kirby's grandson calling out Marvel? No, I haven't heard about that.
I didn't. I saw maybe like a headline about that. I didn't look into it. Was it like a Stan Lee documentary?
Yeah, I'd be curious to know about that. Somebody's watching me. Rockwell's great too. You should look. He had 2 or 3 April Fool's paintings that are really great. If you ever find those, if you look up his April Fool's stuff, because there's all this weird stuff in the background, and you have to try and pick it out. There's the old couple playing chess. There's like a million different things that if you glance at it, you wouldn't see it until you actually look closely. And there's like a fish on the fireplace or something like that. The one hand has an extra finger on it. And there's all this weird, crazy stuff. He's got a wallet tied under the table.
Interesting.
It's like, yeah, it's really, if you get a chance to look for his, and he's got a couple like that, but look for his April Fool's. Here's like here. I'll put one down here. Just I'm gonna close this. But like, here's what I mean for when I say his stuff is just a tad pushed beyond. Like it's still natural, but just a little bit, like the legs are just pushed out a bit. That mouth is just a little bit open.
Is that a hobo stealing a pie?
Yeah, behind the dog's catching him.
It's like has so many elements of cartooning, but it's like technically nothing is simple. Nothing is really simple. Well, I guess the background is simplified, but
yeah,
very detailed.
Oh, they're the realistic oil paintings for sure. Yeah. Do you know who did stuff like this? Very similar. When I look at this, we've talked about him before. Frank Frazetta, and most people think of him. They think of his big Conan style fantasy stuff with these big muscular characters. Look for his comedy movie posters. He did a series of posters for comedies that are fantastic stuff. There was one for a movie that has this big long chase of all these people running, and it disappears into the background, going back and forth. And I forget what it was. I think there was like, and it's all these people running like this with super exaggerated feet, and it's an amazing poster, and the detail in that is incredible. But it's
I want to say maybe it's a mad world or something like that.
No, but it's very similar to that. I wonder if he did that one too. I'll see if I can find it. But it reminds me of that. Because everybody talks about you hear Frank Frazetta and you think of like his big stuff, but his movie posters are.
Yeah, because didn't Jack Davis like? There's something I think I know the one you're talking about, and it's like I've seen people like do a take on that. Like I've seen like multiple homages to that.
Yeah, now I can't find it. I think it was because it was one. It was like a funeral. Well, I can't find it. Good Lord, I know the one I want to find, and I can't find it.
Terry says that that Americana gets me right in the fields. Start humming the Star Spangled Banner.
He's a busybody. Oh, maybe that's the one I was thinking of. I thought it was more involved, but that might be it. I think it's the busybody.
It looks like there's a couple like that. What's New Pussycat is kind of like that.
Oh yeah, that's another one. That's a good one too.
But I think Jack Davis might have started that. I don't know who like that whole like style like that of, and that's like an iconic thing that.
Hey, what's New Pussycat? They have them running across the screen, but that's a great one too. The way they're running. This is the kind of stuff I would have loved to do when I think of movie posters, and I've always said I'd love to do. I would have loved to have painted movie posters and stuff like this.
Yeah, there's another one. The night they raided Minsky's is like that.
Oh, that's a great one too. Yeah, same idea.
People like running like that. Oh, there you go. Right there.
Vic says he's been getting really big into Big Bang comics. Which one are Big Bangs? Not really patriotic, but I guess Independence Days. Yeah, it's Canada Day's coming up too. It's not that we're under the what do you call it? Like we still have the monarchy's face on the money, but really they're not that involved. You know what I mean? Like they're there, but it's they're under the what do you call it? Because the face is on the money on the money. It's what's the term for that? I can't think of the word. I'm drawing a blank on it. Commonwealth. Thank you. God, I was drawing a blank on that. Yeah, I mean, we're under the Commonwealth, but I mean, the one little bonus to it is if I ever wanted to go work in the UK, it makes it a little easier for us as Canadians to get like a work visa to go across the pond and go work in the UK if I want to, or if I want to go live there for a time, I can do that a little easier. You still have the steps to go through. You still have to get the visa and everything, but it's a little easier when you're kind of under the Commonwealth. That's about the only bonus to it, though. Really, otherwise, they're not really that influential.
I was looking up Big Bang comics. I think that I've definitely seen this. I think Vic might have mentioned it before.
Terry wishes the U.S. invasions of Canada. Yeah. You do know I'm descended of British, right? Like my grandparents were British. I have a lot of ties to the UK, so it's
I'll be right back.
It's a recent obsession. I think we got 2 lines of conversation. Big Bang is. I want to have a look at that. Big Bang is British accent. I could actually slip into it if I needed to. My grandfather was, and both of my grandparents actually spoke with a British accent. So if I had to, I could actually go over there and kind of slip into it. Gary Carlson, I want to look that up.
That's cool. It's like a very classic comic book style.
Oh yeah, Big Bang Adventures, The Watchmen. Okay, now I'm familiar with these. Looks like there's different. Okay, so it's not just one artist that works on it, though. I know you are, Terry. No worries.
Vic says he wrote Ninja Turtles at Image and Megaton with Liefeld. Vic, is that the Ninja Turtles that when Eric Larson drew it? That was pretty cool. I feel like I should know these things. Or maybe I
likewise. It's no worries, Terry. I don't. Even with someone who's being really, really trolly, I usually don't take much too seriously anymore. No, that's what was reprinted. TMNT Urban Legends.
Oh, okay.
I need to check something. My roommate picked up some comics today, and one of them was a really unusual TMNT comic that looked almost like a fan drawn one. It was really unusual. Let me see if he still left it out. I don't know if he did or not. I think he took it back. No, he took it back.
Well, Vic says Larson's TMNT was the Savage Dragon crossovers. Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
I forgot I baked the banana bread that I left out on the table to cool off. I'll have to put that away. No, I have enough nerdy things. You have no idea. Yeah. Somebody just sent me a bunch of links. I was just looking at some, but most of it's just kind of useless stuff.
Oh, you didn't find the comics?
Off topic, somebody keeps posting. If you're familiar with Pluto, the channel Pluto, they're starting an all Godzilla channel. Somebody was sending me some stuff on that, but I already heard about that a few days ago. Dumpies. Sorry about the noise there. No. Well, so Vic wants in. I'll let him in for a little bit because I was going to actually wind down and close off. So I'll let him come in for a little bit at the end here.
Sweet.
If he's all right. So I'm going to I guess I can add it in down here. Let's see if I can get the link again. Give me just a minute. I'll just put it in the chat for now because I'm not going to be terribly late. I don't know if he's still here, but I was enjoying having, what was his name way back?
Sketchy Times?
Sketchy Times, yeah. I hope he comes back again. I'd like to actually talk to him more. Maybe sometime I'll have him in. He looks like he has an interesting channel. He doesn't have a lot of content on it, but it looks interesting, though. I'd like to actually go on. Whoops, is he in? A little yellow dot appear on the screen for a second. There. All right.
Yeah.
All right, and there you are. You're on the air.
Time to talk about politics.
Yeah, no, we're leaving that off this channel.
This is Big Bang.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. That looks a little different than the ones I was looking at, but so that's like a series of like there's a series of comics. I don't know. Like they all look like they're superhero comics. At first I thought it was like Marvel, BC, that kind of thing. I thought, or
They're
was
very
another.
much the DC archetypes. Like you've got Ultiman, which my signed Ultiman Ashcan,
Oh, okay.
which is a Superman. Then you've got the Night Watchman, Kid Galahad, Batman and Robin.
Okay.
I hate vans and bears. I've had to draw so many that I've just wanted to strangle a black bear.
Vans and bears.
Yeah. Or hit a black bear with a van. To be clear, I am not promoting animal abuse. I feel like
Hi, there's somebody new here for a moment. My sketchbook. Hi, you. This has been actually a long stream tonight. We've actually been streaming for a couple hours. We had a long chat earlier today about the use of drawing speech bubbles, and then it kind of turned. A friend of mine joined in, and we started talking about art on Instagram and that. So. We had all the meaty stuff earlier. We were just kind of winding down here at the moment, but yeah, I appreciate you chiming in, and I appreciate the sub. If you give me a thumbs up too, that would help. I do every Wednesday night. I do a little show now called the Art Block, and I come on every Wednesday night now. Usually at depending on where you are, 10:30 East. I was a little late tonight, just this life. 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. So. But yeah, I'm trying to get my channel going again, try and get a little more active. That's interesting that you actually typed in art and filtered live, and it came up this one. That's kind of nice to know.
Comics being treated like actual art. It's nice.
It's funny to talk about that. I used to be really fascinated about bears, particularly polar bears. I don't know why. Like I did a whole thing on it. I remember in school years ago.
Because that's all there is up in Canada. Meese and polar bears.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. But I was sort of fascinated by them for some reason. So
okay, tell us more about the art museum that you went to.
So I'm just, looking around. There's this one that's literally just so it's a carved wooden pig with red paint thrown at it and a stack of cash that says, like, for the mayor or something, which is weird.
Oh. I've seen something like that.
Get into what that means. It was kind of cool, but...
Whoop.
I dropped my ruler. Sorry. But then there's a disassembled chair that was called Disassembled Chair.
Disassembled chair.
That was the title?
Yes.
Okay.
Then there was a disassembled wardrobe called Textures.
Okay.
Then there were goldfish in a cage. in a bird cage.
I've seen stuff like that. I've been to shows like that. I've seen a chair made of entirely of glass or mirrors. Sorry, it's made entirely of mirrors.
Huh.
I'm gonna bring this back up again for a minute. Hopefully it'll. If I give me a second while I just rearrange the screen a little bit. I like to find a better layout.
Then, you see someone like me coming into an art museum. That's not usual. It's not normal.
So was there any like representational stuff that you saw that was just like human figures or anything like that?
There was this really good thing that I think was done with a rapidograph.
Oh, nice.
Stared out at for 15 minutes.
Wow. That sounds cool.
A guy thought he was talking about the sun bears were talking to him. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's that's the Darwin Award right there.
What?
You heard of the Darwin Award?
Oh, being the dumbest scientific thing?
Kind of, yeah. It's just doing something really stupid and
Not dying.
yeah.
Defeating Darwinism?
Isn't the Darwin Awards like people that did stupid stuff and died?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm thinking of something different then.
Yeah, that sounds crazy. I guess, yeah, literally crazy. Talking to the bears.
It's a 613 area code.
Listen, I think me and a polar bear would be homies, though. What's the rule? If you see a black bear, you get big. If you see a brown bear, you get small. And if you see a polar bear, you get got. Because they don't eat grass and berries.
Big Bad Mama said, like the guy that shot the saguaro cactus until it fell on him and killed him. Oh my gosh.
That man is my hero. Shut your faces.
It's one way to go out, I guess. Pick a fight with the cactus and you lose.
Listen, I have a very specific way I'm going to go out. I'm going to be here, and I'm going to die with this in my hand. Probably in like 5 years, because I do way too much.
In 5 years.
Like, what's the artist who did Shang-Chi that really overworked himself?
I don't know. He did Shang-Chi?
Yeah. Like, he did way too much on a monthly book, and then he sadly just, passed.
Somebody, what's the 613 area code? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna. I can't look at that. Somebody sent me a random text. That's strange.
Wait,
I think it's
where
spam.
Bill lives.
No, that's not. I'm not 613. I received one from it though.
Oh.
Everyone lives
in
in.
And I was about to say, I'm heading to Canada. I'm gonna steal all your roommate's comics.
Yeah, good luck with that.
You gotta get some of your own, man.
That's
The more. I'm always gonna tell you that you need more comics. Get those
like
graphics, Uncle
I
Scrooge.
collect some comics, art books. So I collect like a variety of things. Like if you just see what I have quite a eclectic selection. But
That is loud.
Oh, he says he used to. I gotta go check out the channel, share when I can. Yeah, well, thanks for popping in. I sure appreciate it. Thank you for the follow. That means a lot. Thanks so much. Please come in and chat again some night. As I said, every Wednesday night I do this. So, yeah, it'd be nice to have you back in again, for sure. Cheers. I did pick this up. Drawing on the right side of the brain, which is sort of the textbook for most schools, high schools, when they teach art. They usually follow this, and this is an unusual book. It's got kind of like I'm not sure if this is like
What format is that?
It's like because I've seen the actual smaller book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain.
Yeah.
There's two of them, and there's also Drawing on the Artist Within, which is a follow-up. But this is like it's like a ring binder, and it's I don't know if this is more the instructor's book or what, but it's got I don't know. There's like a thing in the back here for I don't know this clear drawing. I don't know what it is, but it's unusual book though. But it's interesting stuff. Oh, I see. That's what it is. It's a oh, I see why. All right, this is not quite what I was expecting, but it's interesting though. We can do a little review on this sometime.
Sweet.
Yeah, it does. It's all. It teaches you observation, learning to draw what you're looking at. So because when people first kind of learn to draw, we'll say draw a face, and what everybody just kind of draws a typical,
like an iconic symbol.
Yeah, they'll just kind of do, and then eyes, but then as you learn to kind of learn this careful. I'm tired. Take a little more analytical look at what it is you're actually attempting to draw, and start to break down shapes and looking at positive and negative space and that kind of thing. And so it's really interesting actually, because I know this is what we followed this system back in high school.
Back in there.
I don't know if this is what. Yeah, the example of the flags here. Show you this. So here's somebody who, when they first started, they drew a flag like this, and then by the time they went through the program, they drew it like this.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so it's
Sounds like indoctrination. Right?
That's what they call indoctrination. I used to have, and I gave the book away, and I shouldn't have, but I used to have Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, which was, I think, the follow-up book. And it's, I don't
Wait, Phil, what book was that one then? I thought that was.
This is, Drawing on the Artist Within. This is Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain.
Oh, okay.
And the follow-up was Drawing on the Artist Within. And Drawing on the Artist Within was the one I used to have for a long time. It was a small horizontal shaped book.
Okay. I don't think I've ever heard of the follow-up. I'm pretty sure that we studied that book at least a little bit in school.
Most do. And it's funny that the follow-up book, I never heard of it until like years and years later after I'd finished, and I came across it, and I was like, oh, interesting. And it's and it's I don't think I have it anymore, unfortunately. I should try and see if I can dig it. You can still get it cheap online.
Vans.
Sunbears. What do sunbears look like?
I think my pencil's too sharp.
Did you poke your hand?
I'm bleeding.
Uh-oh.
Well, sunbears are very. They're okay. I know. Okay, I've seen these before. I was trying to remember what sunbears look like. I know I'd heard of them, but I couldn't remember.
Oh, the ones
They're almost human-esque looking. They stand upright a lot.
You know those sun bears and sloth bears actually inspired the Onikuma I'm having to draw?
Really?
Yeah, like the demon bear and yokai stuff is literally just stuff. How do I turn my camera off?
Whoop! Did we lose Turok?
Could you hear me?
No.
No,
No,
we thought maybe you left somewhere in a submarine.
no. I just
Too soon.
fuck, man. Oh, sorry. Let's give it a Logitech controller.
Yeah.
But those sun bears are ultra aggressive. Same with sloth bears towards humans, and they will kill you. So they became the only demon
Most
bear.
bears will.
I'm meaning like you can't scare them off, and they will actively pursue you.
Wow.
But they're super aggressive towards anything. Super territorial. They became Onikoma Demon Bear. I'm having to draw, a bear head on top of what is essentially a Hulk body, and it is driving me insane. I'm so happy that I'm not having to do that for a while.
Also follow me on Instagram.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I almost have 100 followers on Instagram finally. I have very slow growth and stuff. Granted, my Twitter's filled with hot takes like, I like Pepsi and I would rather have RC Cola than Coke. So I understand. Adam, how'd you do on Trivia Night Sunday?
I think I was mostly not really present for it.
Oh.
I was hoping though, because the first thing you said is we're gonna do like newspaper comic strip trivia. I was like, oh man, I will annihilate on that.
Yeah, and I'm like, all I know is the spirit, man.
But I think I had I can't remember exactly, but I was like off mostly doing other stuff.
You gotta be there for the week that I'm running trivia.
When's that?
That will be disclosed as soon as I finish the all 30 questions I'm needing for the Malibu trivia.
Oh, cool. Cool, yeah, well let me know. I'll try to make it. Yeah, I like the Phil, it's Silverline Comics, they do like trivia nights. Those are fun.
The Wednesday people did it and doesn't have the same feel, man. And you know why? Because like when they're doing it, I'm usually like actually drawing instead of, paying attention to the stream. So there was like there's not as much happening in chat. No one answered really as much,
Yeah.
See, I'm the person that makes Silverline interesting. I'm saying that solely because I'm a raging narcissist.
I don't know about that. I do think that oftentimes when I tune in, you're one of the only people like commenting and stuff. Usually,
Yeah, harassing Roland. Look at the last submissions I sent in. Hire me. I need a job. I'm tired of eating ramen. That's mainly because I'm too lazy to cook, but still, give me a job. See, I can make people laugh without being grotesque.
did you
Can I?
recently submit some new stuff to them?
Yeah, about a week or so ago.
Nice.
And I have succeeded everyone in the 100s anthology. Once again, I'm saying this because I'm a raging narcissist.
You've succeeded, is that what you said?
Succeeded, like, surpassed.
Oh, okay.
Did I use the word wrong?
Jolt Cola is better than RC. I never tried Jolt Cola. I've tried RC. It's okay. I've never
Is
tried Jolt.
Jolt Cola still around? Is this from this century or like
I haven't seen Jolt Cola in a long time.
Hmm.
Since probably the early '90s, actually.
Okay, so it's BV.
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah.
quite a bit.
I've been drinking Big Red for some reason. I don't know what it tastes like. And I'm obsessed with trying to figure out what Big Red actually tastes like.
Doesn't it say in the ingredients what it is?
I get it as a fountain pop.
Oh, okay.
And you know, some stuff is just flavored blue and red, and it doesn't make sense.
Is Jolt Cola still a thing? Maybe it's like a regional thing because I haven't seen it here in a really long time.
Is it in the not so great north?
RC Cola though too. I feel like I haven't seen in a really long time.
They stock it at my comic shop.
Okay, there you go.
So, and I work there for free books because, well, money goes to Bristol Board a lot of the time. And new pencils because I go through a 48 pack every 2 weeks.
Wow.
Well, you gotta remember, I do, my 2 hours of figure drawing every day, and then I do my actual page. And maybe a pinup if I need to do something extra.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm unhealthily at the table.
Well, that's good when you're still starting out.
Yeah. Granted, I've been told I can't have a social life because it's the only way I'll get a job.
Is that what Roland was saying?
He have said that. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but yeah.
That is kind of like the type of advice you usually hear. I think that that's ridiculous, but
Especially from older guys who were around back in the day before
yeah,
scans and mental health awareness.
there you go. Yeah.
But I'm able to do it at the moment. And
No,
it'll...
And if it's what you're passionate about, like in other words, if you feel driven to do that, that's good. If you feel like you're forcing yourself to avoid important things to do it, that seems not the most healthy choice. But
like, if there's something important, like, remember when my grandmother died? I think I told Adam about this. He was like the only... I didn't draw for a month, so I've been spending, the past 5 months relearning every skill I used to have. Because that off month really had a lot of regression.
yeah.
And then I got harassed by Rich Parada. He's an old DC inker and penciler. And horrible guy. Hate him with a passion. That's a joke. If I don't like someone, I just don't mention them, usually. Well, now. I've grown as an artist and as a person. Yeah, I sound like a jerk. Sorry, Phil, I'm trying to keep it clean. I like that fish for some reason.
No. I'm kind of just doodling a little bit.
I wonder what would happen if you put legs on it. Just
Legs?
Yes. But that's the kind of stuff I spent 2 hours doing, right? Like what Phil's doing. Just imagine doing that while not listening to an annoying 15-year-old watching Netflix and pausing every time you see something you want to draw. I had a sketchbook full of crap, what was it? What's the movie where the guy from Back to the Future was a businessman from the South in the big city?
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I know what movie you're talking about, but
Making it up big time.
With Michael J. Fox.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. I was just talking with somebody about that the other day. I'd have to kind of look it up. Oh, it's going to bug me now.
And I had to, I drew the love interest about 18 times because I kept messing up on her hair.
Wait, is it Doc Hollywood? Is that the movie you're talking about?
No.
Secret of My Success?
Secret to Success, yes.
Secret of My Success, yeah.
Oh. I didn't see the of my. I was recommending Secret of Success. Well, sorry to whoever I did that to. I didn't recommend you the right bad 90s, 80s. I don't know. All the 1900s blend together for me.
The 1900s. Like the 1920s and the 1990s are just like so similar.
Listen, everyone was getting told they were the worst generation ever. People were still wiling out according to the news and going crazy. You know?
Yeah.
You didn't have the interwebs. And if you did, you were rich most of the time.
I mean,
And
we had the internet in the 90s, but it was very different. It was very limited.
I could go onto a forum, right? Go onto a forum and try and find a pen pal. Oh my god, so exciting.
Uh, yeah, actually, so the internet before social media was kind of interesting. It was much more like um, fragmented and isolated. Like you would just go to um, something.com. Like that's usually what you would go to. Like everyone wasn't centralized in one or two places.
I could play the Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail's from like the 70s or something.
It's like I said, it all blends together.
That didn't, yeah, I don't know why that's so.
Or having to swap discs between, like, right in the middle of a part of a game that you're playing on your computer. How was that?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't play very many computer games.
Computer games.
Yeah, it was.
I'm sorry.
It was
I have to make fun of anything that isn't my generation's. You know, it it's sort of a thing. Millennials are alcoholics. Gen Xers are just completely
Go on.
what's the word for, like, apathetic?
Apathetic.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit. Yeah, there is a little bit of truth to that.
Then boomers, right? They're complaining about the world they messed up. Then the silent generation are really silent now because most of them are dead.
Somebody tried to tell me that the Gen X was like the lazy generation. And I'm like, I beg your pardon. Actually, the only reason we were called that is because that's what the boomers called us.
I think that is like one of the iconic traits of at least like the late end of Gen X was like slacker culture.
But I think that's just what the boomers called us. I mean,
You slackers with your
self and all my friends all had jobs before we were 18 years old, and we have never stopped working since. So.
Yeah, but back in my day, we went down to the coal mines.
But don't forget that before, like, when we as Gen X were kids, like, there was no millennials yet, or Gen Ys, or Gen Zs. None of them existed yet. It was just us and boomers, and they had just sort of started this terminology. And but I mean, we grew up with our folks always telling us, back in my day, we went uphill to school in the snowstorm both ways, and I was just like.
Back in my day, my teacher coached me out every day if I got a math problem.
We were told we were slackers and lazy because we had, MTV and VCRs, and those are all becoming kind of the new thing. And video games. This was all new to us, but we still had to go to work and make our own money.
And now the economy is ruined. And if I try and get a job, I'm pretty much screwed. because no one wants to hire me. Every place is hiring, but nowhere is willing to hire me.
We went through that too.
With my hair, I can't work fast food. I
So
can't
cut it.
cut my hair because it's a sacrament.
Just cut it.
Go Canuck somewhere else. I don't know.
Put
I can't come up
chicken
with
feet
that.
on the fish for Terry, by the way.
I thought it was me who said it.
You said put feet, and then Terry says put chicken feet on that fish.
And now we make it a print.
I thought you had said something. Oh, it's 2:00 here. I think I'm gonna have to call it pretty soon. I'm wiped out, and I have to get up a little bit early to open the doors in my building. We have some people coming to do some cleaning, and I have to unlock the doors and let them in.
Wait, give me a second. Give me a second. Give me one.
Well, thanks for having us on, Phil.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was my pleasure. Yeah, actually, it was very insightful. I'm grateful for the input. I thought it was actually a good art conversation. Actually, we had.
Yeah.
We got a lot out of that. But you're welcome, Terry.
All I'm saying is Jack Kirby co-created all those characters. Give him the credit he deserves.
Yeah.
Support the writer's strike.
We actually just talked about something. My roommate and I just talked about that earlier this evening about
We can't be
him
replaced.
having.
Let's see. What else can I say to support creatives? Listen, give up. Because if it only takes a piece of garbage like me who have done nothing with their life to say give up to make you give up, you're not cut out for it.
Damn right. Thank you, Terry.
Hey, wait, Phil, we're matching.
What? If you cut your hair?
The behind scruffs.
The behind scruffs? What do you?
Your hair's long now, so there's.
Oh yeah, this is all gonna be. I gotta get all this cut off. I want to get rid of it. You know?
Come on, twist your hair.
Hmm?
Get your locks ready.
No, it does not do that anymore. It used to at one time.
Wait,
My hair was really straight. I have pictures of me when I looked like dressed as a hippie, 60s hippie in the full. And it was this was like no store bought pieces like Halloween store bought pieces. It was all like actual like real stuff that I was wearing. What?
Wizard.
I'm dressed as a wizard too. I've been had for conventions.
Oh, I was just meaning the hair in general.
I don't think I'm gonna keep.
Gandalf the Canuck.
I don't know if I still have that or not.
Just stalling to keep Phil on longer.
I can't actually attach this. I was going to bring something up, but I can't. It's funny because you mentioned about a wizard, and I've got a picture of me somewhere in back in, was it 2014?
Yes, I'm looking at you like the video. Come on, don't be a jerk. Crap, I hurt my eyes.
What? I was hoping to try and find something. Oh, come on, where is it? No Halloween pictures. What are you doing?
I'm just like staring at my camera. I don't know. I'm hyped up on Mountain Dew, Oreos, an energy drink, and whatever else I've put in my body that I really shouldn't have.
Yeesh, I complain when I eat too many peanuts. Oof.
You complain when you eat dairy.
Yeah, that's another story. That's we don't want to go into that.
I suck it up and writhe in pain like a man.
Oh, I'm missing something here. 1 second. Give me 1 moment. I always get concerned when I'm missing something.
Oh, Adam, you know what you should rewatch?
What's up?
So there's a Tuesday Silverline stream on collecting that features yours truly talking about how comics are meant to be read. Don't be.
Oh, okay. I may have seen a little bit of that. Oh, maybe I did see that. You were who was on that?
My friend Benny's popped in. Hi. Yes, it went later than I expected. Sorry.
There's this guy called Tim TK.
Yeah.
Who looks like dehydrated me. And
I think I did watch that. Some of the stuff I've been watching on my TV where it's not like I can't like comment as easily without getting like a
secondary device.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I think I did watch that one.
Listen, anytime I'm there, it's the best show of the week. That's just objectively true. And it happens a lot for some reason. It's almost like they should hire me. Okay, I'm gonna clip that.
You ever watch Silverline, Phil? The Silverline comics stream?
Silverline?
Isn't he usually...
That rings a bell.
I talk about them constantly and about how they refuse to hire me.
Oh, Silver Bell. Yeah, that rings a bell. That rings, no pun intended.
Bell? Silver...
Is that a comic book company or?
Yes.
They're like what is the relation of Malibu and Silverline? It was like Silverline was started by former Malibu editors.
Former Malibu editor Roland Mann.
Oh, okay. Cool, yeah.
With his feathered mullet blazing, he left, and by left I mean he got fired. There were armed guards at the Malibu offices because there were multiple millions.
I got to hear about this.
Worth of computers.
Maybe another time, but but Phil, it's a good channel, and they do live streams, what, like at least like 3 times a week.
Yeah,
okay, I'll have to look for them.
Get ultra PG me.
And if you ever tune into Silverline streams, 100% guarantee that Vic will be there.
That's not always true. A lot of the times I'll be napping some days.
Well, then you show up 5 minutes late, but you're still there.
Like 30 minutes late, yeah. But like,
I've never been to a Silverline stream when you weren't there. That I can think of. Maybe one.
There's me in my hippie days when I used to have long hair.
Brother man, peace and love.
Was this your regular the way you regularly dressed, or this was like you were dressing up?
No, this was for a special occasion. It was for like Halloween or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think my Halloween costume for this year is gonna be one of those 36 Chambers background people. You know, the hoodie the Wu-Tang hoodie, the white mask, and Wu-Tang hoodie.
Right.
But Adam, I can tell you the story if you like hang back here. Or if you don't have to sleep that much tonight, I guess.
Oh, you're saying like after?
Yeah, this goes off air.
Yeah, I'd like to hear.
Because Phil needs to sleep.
Yeah, I should turn in soon. I was trying to find you talking about being a wizard, and I have a picture of me somewhere in a wizard costume. And I was trying to find it, and it's completely gone now. I don't
You're a wizard, Philly.
Yeah, I wish I could have found that. I was just going to surprise you with it and bring it up, but I can't find the picture now. And it's a little distressing. I don't know what happened to those.
If you ever find it, send it to me. I will be drawing a wizard Phil and
All right then.
possibly.
I do find it. I'm a little nervous though that it's gone. It's 2015. It was just
2015?
that was before that. It was 2014. That was something else. What happened to it?
What? I was a 7-year-old.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that long ago, too.
It doesn't seem that long ago. Well, for me either. I miss my juice boxes.
I was in London.
I also miss the flea market I used to buy comics at.
Nice. Yeah, that doesn't seem like that long ago.
Well, it was.
Doesn't.
That is over half my life ago.
I really glowed up. I was, that picture I showed you, that I was actually in my mid to late 30s. And that doesn't seem like that long ago. Yeah, I was.
You look like you've de-aged.
It's funny you say that. I've been kind of looking into that. I've been following. There's a guy named Brian Johnson, I think, he's a millionaire, but he's going through all these experiments on looking into de-aging and reverse aging, and I've been kind of following a lot, actually, the information on that. The guy's a millionaire, but he's putting all his data and information he's been putting out on the internet for free. But yeah, I've been kind of fascinated by that whole thing of kind of slowing down your aging rate, and
it's called skincare.
That's part of it. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's all the basically just taking care of yourself. It's getting enough sleep, eating properly, and getting some exercise and that kind of thing.
I'm gonna age like crap.
Yeah.
Crap.
But where do I? Here, would you like to see something? Here, I'll do this real quick. I shouldn't do this. I'm probably going to cut this off. But here.
The anticipation is killing me.
Yeah, this is in my college days, and I was doing the one on the left is in my college days, and I was doing something for stop motion, so that's why I'm in this funny position. But yeah, so there you go.
You look much better now.
The lighting's really bad in the 2014 one, so that's why I have kind of an ostrich neck, but the lighting is really bad in that. But yeah.
Especially the hair.
Yeah.
It's got more volume to it. And
well, I'd had my hair cut really short back there when I was 21. But
get the full bowl cut.
Yeah, I had it cut really, really short. So
that's interesting. You look very different.
I know everybody says that's you. It doesn't look anything like you. I'm like, yeah, believe it or not, that was me.
I mean, I can definitely tell it's you, but it's
You look like the theater teacher's assistant.
I'm trying to turn this off.
Do you see it?
Which one? The young one?
1990.
Oh, geez. Theater teacher's assistant.
Granted, you also have the generic actor shirt because you can't have brands.
This is
So is there like, do you like? Terry says you leveled up. I feel like there's certain people that just look more like themselves at a certain age,
oh
and you see. I don't know. It's hard to say because I've only really known you at the age that you're at, but like to me, it seems like you seem more like yourself at the
oh
second photo.
maybe I might have, yeah, maybe it's just because I don't know.
Were you meant to be driving a car?
Yeah, we were doing. Remember, I was in college and I was taking animation. And we were doing an experiment with stop motion, and so I was pretending to be driving a car, and we were doing. I'd move a little bit, and he would take another picture, and I'd move a little bit and take a picture, and so this was somehow I kept one of these. So
I used to do stop motion with Legos.
I'm trying to.
That's as far as I've went into stuff like that. I don't animate, you know.
So but that's when that was college was a fun time to experiment. We could do things like that. We had the access to the equipment, and we just had fun. We were just doing stuff for school and for ourselves, and it was it was a great time to be creative and inventive and do stuff. And
I figured out the final reason you looked like a theater person. That's how everyone does a car when they're doing improv.
oh
yeah.
But, or you can just do me where I, do that for a few seconds, then fly onto the ground and act like it's a wreck. Because I don't want to be holding my arms like a mook.
People don't look that good all the time. They lack money and style. Yeah, it's true.
Then I
still
look
don't have
like
money or
look at me like back in the day. I do not look the same. But back in the day, I mean like 5 months ago.
You would say you're still growing up.
Yeah.
Back in the day, obviously, yeah, you're gonna. I wish I could find my wizard.
I have a jawline now. It's nice. Adam, have you done anything for Toad Road recently? Oh wait. Sorry.
A little bit.
Oh.
But not a whole
first
lot.
issue
I've been kind of on a bit of a
hiatus.
Or I don't know, a hiatus gets to a point where it's just maybe more of a sabbatical.
Yeah. I'm happy to see you doing better though, man.
Thank you.
These videos.
Yeah, it's good to come on and hang out.
Yeah. I thought for a brief moment, I thought I'd maybe found that wizard picture, but it's still not there. I don't know what's happened to it. That's really annoying that I can't find it.
Look at me.
Hold on.
You have to open the door for people tomorrow. You
What?
don't want to be sleep deprived and cranky.
Oh, I'm still going to shut everything down. Oh, I kind of here.
Oh,
last time. I'm doing this for a quick second.
Picture.
There's like a large group of people in this picture, though. So,
do you have their faces scratched out?
No, it'll be fine. But that's me on the far left. So there you go. But I did have a staff as well. So I don't know what happened. I wasn't. Whoops. No. You can go back and watch the rerun and pause it. But I had a single one with me standing there with the staff that I made, and it's
Stand off the A.
Yeah. And on that,
the A.
I'm gonna eject that. All right. All right. Well, listen, I'm gonna call it here because I think Adam wants to get going, and I should actually get ready for bed. But thank you, everyone, for coming on tonight.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. I should end out with some theme music here.
Why do I always, whenever I end up looking at the camera, like, really just distort my face? Like,
oh, I know why. I don't know.
Because, like, if you look at old stuff, it's just... Yeah, like...
Harry says, no. Oh my God, Phil, no. What, the wizard outfit?
Gandalf the A. Gotta end this stream with "Oh Canada."
No.
Oh Canada, oh Canada. I don't know the words to this song. Maple leaves true or something. Our geese will attack you.
Yeah, that's true. They will. Like, that's why they call them cobra chickens. But
Cobra chickens. That gives me an ideal for a comic.
All right. This is my exit music. Anyways, I'm going to call it, you guys.
All right.
Yes.
Have a good night, Adam.
Right.
Have a good night, Vic. Terry, Big Bad Mama, thanks for joining me. And all of you two out there, thank you very much for joining me tonight. We'll see you again next Wednesday.
Go.